Oh, okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Tori. I am here. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. Am I stuck? I'm not stuck. Okay, I'm here. Haha. Nice. Hello, everybody. It is me, Tori, with my stupid idea that I'm gonna do today because I've been teasing this idea for ages, and today is finally the day. I woke up with a headache. Got pain medications for it. I got food. I ate food. I drank good. I did everything to be fully prepared for the worst idea I've had in a while. Well, let that be known. This is a stupid idea. I do not. Okay, what is the disclaimer? The disclaimer is this: if you are at any point a sane human being, you're not gonna do this challenge. This is stupid. This is a dumb idea. You should not do it. I am a stupid person, and therefore I will do the best kind of content. React content, but we have to make it interesting, right? Because React content in and of itself is kind of boring and bullshit. And more than likely, a lot of the times I'm either gonna go quiet or pause to like give in my thoughts here and there. And well, to do that, to keep it interesting, the idea is to watch all of it, all of the Five Nights at Freddy's, all of it. We're watching all of the game theories, because you know what? I just don't know Five Nights at Freddy's lore. Oh, what have I started, Tori? When you started this channel, would you think 1 year in you'd be doing something like this? No. Is it a dumb idea? Yes. Is that the FNAF 2 in menu music playing in the background because it's the one I recognize the most? Yes. Also yes. Now, disclaimer. I do like MatPat's game theories, and honest to God, it might very much be the case that, yes, this is dumb fun indeed. And two, more than likely, I might have already over the years, right, watched them all. I think I actually technically have watched them all over the years, but as they came out, you know? And then sometimes when, you know, they pop up in your feed and you're like, well, I might as well watch them, you know? And then you watch them again, and then that gets to be the case. So it might already be that, like, for a lot of them, I have already seen them. But that doesn't matter. We're going to see them all again. The biggest challenge will be how long until I start scrolling down to, like, go to the comment section and read that, right? To read stuff like this. Like. We're going to dust off the knowledge. God damn it. You see, that's going to already be one of the problems, and I'm very much going to apologize for it beforehand, which is me probably scrolling down to look at the comment sections. That, or at a certain point, you'll hear rumblings when I, like, maybe try to pick up a drawing tablet or whatever. We'll see how long I can stay focused on just the videos before my mind wanders off and is like, I want to do other things. All the game theory vids on FNAF. Yeah, so it's all of the game theories on FNAF. It's this playlist I put together because the playlist on the channel, like, I think has 1 or 2 like live streams they did in there. I'm not watching a fucking live stream, right? I'm only watching edited cringe content, which in the end ends up being like 58 videos. And 58 videos, that totals up to about 18 hours 57. So 19 hours, which is why the thumbnail says 19 hours, that kind of crap, you know? I'm just postponing the inevitable. I'm just not pressing the button because I just don't want to. I don't want to. Oh, if MatPat, let's do this. By the way, if MatPat, hey, if you ever see this video somehow or it gets recommended to you, I am so sorry. There you go. That's the only apology I have to make. Also, go check out the videos on his channel. Of course, they're all there. If you haven't seen them by now. Hey, you've had 8 years of time. You've had 8 years of time to watch the goddamn Five Nights at Freddy's videos. So if you haven't watched them by now, then that's a you problem. Wait, let me put on a light here on the side. Let's start with scuff immediately, you know? You might say you're just postponing the inevitable. Yes. Yes, I am. Fuck's sake. Okay, let me turn off the FNAF 2 menu music. Also, the FNAF 2 menu music, I have it open on a tab. I'm probably gonna use it as a whatchamacallit, whenever I maybe like do a little break, go to the toilet, or maybe get something in the front quickly to eat or whatever, like get an extra energy drink or whatever the hell, or get cereal, then there might be a few moments where I pause the stream, because the idea is I have to watch it all. I can't pull a Hassan and just like walk off, do something else, and have just the video playing in the background. We're not doing that today, because that's not part of the challenge. The challenge is to actually sit here and see it all, or at least hear it all, you know. We'll have to see. We're watching the real content. This is the realest of content. Fuck me. I don't know how. I actually don't know, because apparently the first one starts with a skit, but I haven't seen these in so long that I don't remember them, which means we get to see cringe from 8 years ago. Hold your horses, people. Wait, let me double check the audio one last time, because you gotta make sure that it's not too loud.
Hello once again, theorists. Welcome to MatPat Plays. Today we are playing the scariest game of all.
Remember when this game was considered shitty?
We never heard of it. It's called Five Nights at Freddy's. Here we go.
Oh, God.
What's this?
Ah, yeah, so he's emulating Markiplier.
The camera came up. Oh, was that a bunny?
Hey, look, your average reaction streamer.
Was that a bunny? It was a bunny.
This already has more editing.
Oh my God.
This is great. Why are you doing your hurting yourself? This is.
Oh God.
This is very much that. Not gonna lie.
It's only the fan.
Bruh.
It's only the fan. Only a fan.
I'm stuck for 19 hours of this shit. Fuck's
I've never
sake.
played a game this intense.
What if I watch all the Markiplier
Shut the door,
playthroughs? No! Not doing that. Also, I'm gonna try and not talk too much during the theory. Oh well, it depends. This is the terrible thing where I'll just talk through everything. So you'll be like, I want to watch the theory video. Well, go watch the theory video. This is the one where I speak. So wait. We have a nice thing within the Discord server as well. Scatty put up the let's put it up for vote. When will will I lose my goddamn sanity? Like it's when will streamer man go insane. Hour 1 in the first 3 hours, 4 to 6, 7 to 9, 10 to 12, 13 to 15, or 16 onwards. A lot of you are guessing like 7 to 9, which is actually a good point, right? Because the longest streams I've done usually end up being about 8 hours. So.
All right. I mean, oh God, it's so terrifying.
This is the funny. He didn't even like it in the beginning, which is the funniest thing, right? Even he was like, what the fuck's the point of this franchise, sort of thing. Like, oh, everyone was.
Compelling gameplay.
That's funny.
Oh my gosh, guys, I'm almost out of power.
You know, I've never actually beaten the Five Nights at Freddy's game.
I'm gonna make it. Oh, please
Like, I've only played
Freddy,
the first
please
2.
Don't get me, Freddy.
I sadly enough never played the third one.
Is this what it takes to get views on YouTube?
It's the theory! Also, we don't skip the intros. We watch all the intros, by the way. We don't get to skip it. 19 hours! I'm already. I'm pissed off. Okay, that's what it is.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, where fear is our middle name.
He doesn't say it where it's like
Fear Patrick.
Why does he say it like all crazy like Game Theory?
I didn't give Five Nights at Freddy's enough credit when it first came out. A few jump scares from creatures that
background music is good though.
Scary. People overreacting to it on YouTube.
Yeah, what has changed?
Pass. But then when I asked you about it, you showed overwhelming support for an episode on the game on Twitter. So
imagine the alternative universe where Game Theory made a video on Slender Man and not Five Nights at Freddy's. What was that script? What's that universe where I was now maybe watching like 9 years worth of Slender Man videos instead of Five Nights at Freddy's? Goddamn. Sorry, I won't pause too much. I'll try to not pause too much, but I'll do it by accident. Oh shit.
Storytelling, most intriguing mysteries,
sure it is.
Most disturbing events I'd read about.
Remember when the game was actually about killing kids?
Just to play the game
I do.
Through 5 days, the story would actually come across as pretty superficial. You're the new night guard watching the security cameras at a Chuck E. Cheese-style restaurant called Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. 4 animatronics.
Lord!
The owners don't want their servos to lock up. Bad news is, you can't let them near you, or else they'll kill you on the spot because you look like a naked endoskeleton. Ow, ow! Oh, show them those circuits. Apparently, one of them bit someone back in 87, presumably 1987. And the past guard leaves you recorded phone
Hey, look,
messages
this
to
is
your
this is
tutorial.
literally.
That
Even
is
then,
as
this was
much as
about
he
all
could
you get.
record before he got himself killed. And that's it. Stay 5 nights, collect your paycheck, done, game over, play something new. But playing it that way is doing the game a huge disservice, because that's not even scratching the surface. If you're really observant, you start to unravel the layers of unsolved mysteries around this place. You find
Yeah, the
that
mystery
there's
that this
a
lore is
fifth
still not
animatronic,
solvable.
that posters on the wall will change randomly, that news clippings
Honestly, the
appear
first
and
game is probably
disappear,
one of the
telling
best ones when it
dark
comes to, like,
secrets of this
yeah,
twisted place.
like the
Putting
way
it
it
all
has like
together,
the
here's
the
rest
history
of
and stuff
story.
like all hidden
Freddy
away and shit like that.
Fazbear's Pizza.
It's pretty
Once
good.
a popular restaurant fell into hard times when 5 children went missing there after
I
being
wonder how
lured
much
to
of
a
this they're
back
gonna
room
incorporate
by
in the
a
movie,
man
by the way.
dressed in
That's
a
also another
character
reason to do it,
costume.
because yeah, the
Though a
movie
suspect
got
was
announced, so
caught and convicted, the bodies of the children were never recovered. The pizzeria was also threatened with shutdown.
Oh, we also have to
due
like all the
sanitation
videos, yeah. We
complaints,
have to
as
make sure we
foul
like all
odors
of them,
started
because
to come
otherwise,
from the
what's the point?
animatronics, blood and mucus oozing from their eyes and mouths. The last article, written years after the incident, states that the pizzeria would finally be closed by year-end.
I wanna
In
see
addition
that
to
in
the
the
core
movie.
4 robots, Chica,
Ooey,
Bonnie,
ooey,
Freddy,
rotten
and Foxy,
child
there's
corpses.
also
Let's
a
put that
fifth,
in there. Let's go.
unofficially referred to as Golden Freddy. Ignoring the rules of physics, Golden Freddy appears.
You mean Fretbear
Can
from
index
Fretbear's Family Diner? God
wherever,
damn it.
causing strange hallucinations. And when he attacks
Unhinged.
you, you're not taken to the typical game over screen. Your game crashes. So that's unsettling. And there's also strange messages appearing on the walls, repeating the words, "It's me." According to the game's creator, the place is indeed haunted by what we can only assume to be the spirits of the 5 lost children. So that's the gist of it. Murder, missing children, foul odors, killer robots, and pizza. But that story leaves a
Bruh,
lot
I
of
should've gotten
lingering
pizza.
questions. Who is your
should've been on
character?
brand.
How's he
Maybe I'll
fit in?
order a pizza
Why does
later.
he stay for 5 nights when he's very clearly confronting the possibility of death? What more can we know about this terrifying Golden Freddy? And most importantly, what is the complete story behind 5 Nights at Freddy's? They're all good questions about a delightfully incomplete and mysterious story.
I
with
find
just
that
enough
funny how
threads
that
to
holds
keep you
up 8 years
theorizing.
later.
So now, if you'll indulge
9-ish.
me, let me reciprocate that story.
2014
with
the
one of
first
my
game
own.
came out,
I
apparently,
think you'll
so.
find it interesting. December
Oh yeah,
1993,
these were the game theories I very much also
Colorado,
liked back in the
10
day. It's
PM
the ones where it's
Tuesday
where
night at
he
local
tells a
Chuck E.
story
Cheese.
with it,
After a
right?
family birthday party runs long,
Instead of just
manager
weird
Margaret Kohlberg,
tangents.
teenage employees Sylvia Crowell, Ben Grant, Colleen O'Connor, and
Oh,
Bobby
this part's real,
Stevens are
so,
forced to
you
stay
know,
late
F's
to
in
close
chat.
up shop. But as Margaret tallies receipts in the back, Bobby scrubs down the kitchen, and the other 3 work outside in the main arcade. Unknown to any of the 5, there's actually a 6th person locked in the building with them, waiting silently in the darkened restrooms. A 19-year-old named Nathan Dunlap. Earlier that year, Nathan had begun working there as a cook, dough master, before getting fired in July after a disagreement over his hours.
Damn.
Now, 5 months later, he was back. At 10:05, he left the bathroom, pulled out a small caliber handgun, and proceeded to execute everyone in the building. First
Yeah.
Sylvia, then Ben, then Colleen. Dunlap then moved to the kitchen, where he surprised
It's like some
Bobby
true
Stevens.
crime shit.
The bullet entered Bobby's jaw, sending him
Wonder if this
sprawling
video
onto the ground.
maybe
Then finally, Nathan
enabled
moved
the
to
true
back,
crime
the
movement to be like
office, where
what it is,
Margaret
right?
opened the safe before Nathan
think
shot
about
her
it?
twice. Proceeded to
Five
collect
Nights
her
at Freddy's
bag,
was baby's
filling it with
first, true crime
$1,600 in
documentary.
cash,
Kinda.
arcade tokens, and keychains. Spurred on by the building security footage, police were at his home a few hours later, where he was promptly arrested. Eventually, he was tried and sentenced to death, but his story re-entered the news just recently as his punishment has been postponed, leading people to debate whether he's able to sleep soundly, knowing that his execution has been delayed. This is a tragic story, a disgusting waste of human life, and one that I won't joke about or make fun of in any way, but I want to address it because I have a strong suspicion that this story is the one that inspired 5 Nights at Freddy's. Let's look at the facts. First, I don't think that there's any doubt that Freddy's is a parody of Chuck E. Cheese. From the singing animatronics to the alliterative naming of the characters, the parallels are just obvious, so the setting is certainly the same. Next, what year does 5 Nights take place? The time is certainly kept vague, but there are clues that we can put together. For one, the
This is
Chuck
one
E.
of the
Cheese
coolest
franchise
things
had
that
a
they put together
tremendous
back in the day,
period
by
of
the way.
growth and success in the late 80s and early 90s, but started to decline along the same time as arcades, with at-home video game consoles taking center stage. So that's one clue, but we can get even more detailed, specifically with your character's paycheck.
This
Each
shit,
night you're
right?
working a 6-hour shift, and you're spending 5 nights there. So that's 30 hours of total work time for $120. In total, $4 an hour. How can they do that? That's below minimum wage for 2014. But in 1990, minimum wage was $3.80. In 1991, it was raised to
$3.80. I wouldn't show up to
$4.25.
work if I get paid
In
that
96,
much.
you were looking at about $5
Literally
an hour.
just
So the
spit in their
game
face.
seems
I
to
don't
take
know.
place between 1991 and 1996.
Although for a
The
gumdrop,
Nathan
you could also buy a
Dunlap
house back in
story
them
took
that day,
place in
so,
1993. But let's move on to the most important comparison.
In the TikTok
the
chat, we're gonna play God of War
victims. In
again.
the
I
game,
beat
there
it
were
yesterday.
5 child
On
victims
YouTube, you can check
with
the
a
VOD.
real-life story. There
Well,
were
yeah, like
also
God of War 5 got
victims.
beaten yesterday,
But
so
we can get even
which is
more
neat.
specific. Online theories about the
Today
game
it's
always tend to
torture.
draw parallels
Yesterday was God of
to
War. Today is
missing to
self-torture.
the number of animatronics, saying that the children's bodies were stuffed in the various suits. And this appears to be true. Bonnie and Chica both have moans and raspy breath sound effects, as though someone's trying to cling to the last threads of
This
their
is so
lives.
sad that
stuffed
no more
inside
horror was incorporated in
costumes.
Security
And other
Breach. Holy
sounds made
shit.
by the animatronics are just slowed down versions of children's laughs and screams. Additionally, as the news clipping mentions, the suits ooze blood and mucus and begin to stink like decaying bodies or reanimated corpses. So 5 victims, 5 suits. Seems like a slam dunk, but nowhere does it say that all 5 were murdered, only that they went missing and couldn't be found. Also, the trouble a lot of people have with this theory is Golden Freddy. Why is that guy so limp and lifeless? So unlike the others. It's weird, until you go back to the real life story. Yes, there were 5 people shot that night in Chuck E. Cheese, which matches the 5 victims in Freddy's story, but of those, 1 survived. Bobby, the one from the kitchen, miraculously survived the shot to his jaw. When he was knocked to the floor by the bullet, he went
that's
plain
fucked.
dead to avoid the killer coming back to finish the job. And that relates exactly to the advice you're given on night 3 by the phone guy.
Try playing dead. You know, go limp.
Again, let me reiterate that I'm not trying to make light of the real-life events by comparing them to bear costumes and animatronics, but I do want to point out that
It's a story with
these
similarities. There's
do
parallels. It's
exist.
interesting.
And what else is limp and appears to be a lifeless, empty suit in the game? Golden Freddy. Surviving the attack, Bobby was able to go to trial and be a damning piece of evidence in the case against Nathan Dunlap, ultimately leading to his death sentence. Which animatronic surprises you by appearing randomly? The one you don't expect and has no clear pattern? Golden Freddy. It's also worth mentioning that of all the cameras in the restaurant, one is always black, preventing you from seeing what's going on. That camera is located in the kitchen, leading many to assume it's where Golden Freddy hides, which just so happens to be the place Bobby
No.
was able to
He's in
provide.
the back room
So I
that is
asked,
shut off
coincidence
because
or
the
source of
tape guy
inspiration?
says that
And
in
if
the
you
third
think about
game
it, the
because
behavior of the
Springtrap
animatronics
and
really corresponds with key features of each
I thought you
of
could
the real-life
overcomplicate everything by
stories'
just
victims.
bringing up
We just
like
covered
random
Golden
shit from
Freddy
later
and
on.
Bobby, but the
Remember how
rest
simple
strange
this game
parallels
used to be,
too.
by the way,
Bonnie
lore-wise,
goes into the
right?
utility closet filled with floor cleaning supplies, the most prominent ones being a mop and a broom. It's probably one
The
of the
raspy
most
voices are
random
fucked up,
rooms
I'm
in the
not gonna lie.
game, until you
They're
consider that
spooky as hell,
Ben,
though.
the second victim, was vacuuming at
That
the time
shit?
of the attack. Foxy is kept sequestered in the
damn, I
back of the
missed it.
building, behind a curtain, more aggressive than all the rest. Similar to the way Margaret, the manager, was in the back office counting receipts at the time of the murder, and her role as manager would inherently make her more aggressive or assertive. Sylvia was
What the hell kind of manager is that? That
the
doesn't
salad bar
assertive,
and
maybe
attack.
aggressive.
Chica walks past the
Well,
bathroom and
minimum
is
wage pizza
associated
job,
with
yeah.
food. And Freddy, well, he doesn't have that strong of a parallel with Colleen, but he does appear in the girls' restroom. Odd for what we would assume to be a male animatronic.
You
Maybe it's a
assume
reference to
game
Colleen
theory?
being a girl, or a nod to Nathan's plan of hiding in the bathroom until he was ready to attack. All right, after doing all the research, reading every fan theory in existence, and putting all the clues together, what can this mean for
Wonder
the
what the
story
other
of the
fan
game?
theories were
I
back
think
in the
the
day.
game is an allegory for that night back in 1993. Here's my final interpretation. You, Mike Schmidt, are the murderer, former employee of Freddy's Pizzeria.
You're the
Like
son.
Nathan in the real story.
Heavy
you were
topic just on the
fired for
first.
the
Yeah, the
reasons
first
stated
vid
in
has like.
Phase 7 Pink
This is
Slip,
one of those reasons like
covering
it got big is because it was like
being
pretty heavy the
unprofessional
shit that was talked
voter.
about, you know.
Maybe it was your
The
tampering with
game was
robots
kind of
that caused the
funny
infamous
and
fight
all
of 87.
whimsical, but like
Regardless, like
the
Nathan,
lore
you were
was
mad and wanted to
dark
get
and
even.
and
So you
shit.
lured children to the back using a costume, killed them, stuffed their bodies into the animatronic suits, hoping to get the place shut down, then left. Notice that the newspaper clippings never say it's an employee of the company luring the children away, but we know it must have been someone with access and knowledge of the employees only section of the building. And as the newspaper clippings clearly show, just like Nathan, you were caught almost immediately, captured on the security footage. You were arrested, tried, and convicted, forced now to live on death row. The Freddy's Pizzeria you work in now are just the nightmares that haunt you, taunting you every
Remember when this
night
would be
with the
incorporated
phrase,
backwards?
It's me.
Huh?
It's me. It is you. You are the killer. The nightmare is also why everything is so surreal. Posters switching at random. Heads
Funny
on
how the first
animatronics
theory is technically a
glitching,
dream
Golden
theory, right?
Freddy appearing and disappearing at will, taunting you as
That-
the one
that
that got
term
away.
will come back
It's
later.
also why you're only at the pizzeria from midnight to 6 a.m. every night. It's a nightmare. It's in your sleep. It's a place you created. A restaurant long closed as evidenced by the spider webs. And overrun with angry spirits out for revenge on you and you alone as the one who took their lives, as evidenced by them completely ignoring the naked endoskeleton elsewhere in the building. It's also a place you can't escape from, why you find yourself back there night after night, even after you complete your 5 nights. See you back next week, the ending text goes. You're unable to leave this terror, the threat of death, the guilt, because it never ends. And in a delightfully ironic twist, your
This could be
personal hell
this could be like
forces you to
this could be the
supervise
trailer
the
for this
exact
fucking
same
stream. It
security
never
footage
ends.
that led
You're
to your
stuck here.
capture in the first place.
And
But
also-
hey, that's just a theory.
Ugh.
A game theory. Sweet dreams.
The hell? Matt Pat, stop it.
You know what October reminds me of?
And what the hell?
Traveling from door to door in order to get free snacks on Halloween.
No, we're not watching sponsorships. So, okay, new rule. We're watching all the intros because intros are needed. But like the sponsorships at the end, if there's nothing interesting there that's necessarily needed for this shit, we're skipping those. This is the hell of Tori vtuber. Yes, my personal hell. It's me. Is stuck in 5 Nights at Freddy's. Except it's gonna be maybe 2 nights of this shit. 2 nights of game theory.
New and improved Five Nights at Freddy's 2 video. I'm here to answer any questions the game may have left unanswered.
Aha.
Developer.
Like all of them.
He's a pretty tricky guy. Don't worry though, we'll get everything cleared up. Oh, and watch out for the puppet.
Wait a minute. It's not that loud. What is volume mixer? Let's see if there's something odd with Google going on.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, the show that promises not to include any more gratuitous jump scares, unless that's just what I want you to think, so I can lull you into a false sense of security
There we
and
go.
scare you again. But I wouldn't do that. I'll just let the uncertainty of whether a jump scare is going to happen or not drive you insane for the rest of this episode. Man, I love reverse psychology. You know what
Fine,
else I
okay.
love? These games!
Let's go!
I'm freaked out by the rosy-cheeked, tingle-looking, emotionally dead animatronics. Okay, well, Balloon Kid is pretty messed up, but whatever. No, what I appreciate about these games is the level of thought that went into every element of the story. When you create a game that has people rage debating about whether it's a sequel or a prequel,
The second one was
you've
fucking awesome, by
definitely
the way,
done
when that
something
came out,
right.
right? Yeah,
Unless that was never your
'cause-
intent, in which case you've done something horribly, horribly wrong. Anyway, the point is, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 looks to be everything you'd want in a sequel. More cameras, more danger, and more fan. Oh, the fan. But that also comes with more
Honestly,
questions.
the second one
Questions
honestly
about the
might be-
game's lore. And while others
It's either
will
that or the
provide you
third
with
one. I
the
like the
jump
third one
scares,
for the conclusion it gives, but I think I like the second one the most for like how it expanded on the stories
well,
and shit.
maybe not everyone. What an elite, educated subset of you really want, answers.
Gonna need
so
those
grab
to keep your eyes
yourselves a
open like
slice
hell
of
to watch
Freddy
these
Fazbear's
videos.
signature pizza, because we're about to dig in. Ugh.
The one that like
Tastes
Clockwork
like
Orange, like where the guy like has his
cardboard.
eyes like
Let's
pulled
get the
backwards,
big
like
one out
ah,
of the way first.
ah.
Is the game a sequel or a prequel sequel? And what I mean by that is, contrary to popular belief, just because it has a big 2 slapped next to the name doesn't automatically mean the game comes after the first one in a timeline sense. It's a sequel.
There's a lot of
yes,
ways in
but
which it
tells a
really
prequel story.
feels like it
Take,
should
for
be
instance,
like
these
later on,
all-time
right?
classics: Psycho 4: The Beginning, Lion King 1.5, and the actual all-time classic Godfather Part 2. All of them sequels that just so happen to also be prequels. It's not mutually exclusive. So where's Five Nights at Freddy's 2 fit in? Knowing its place in the timeline is crucial for understanding
the
its story.
timeline!
Well, to figure that out, let's focus on the paycheck you receive at the end of your 5th night. The date places the events of the game in 1987, a whole 6 years
Let's
ahead
go.
of when we determined the first game took place in our first video. Sounds like a prequel, but we found that date in the first game by calculating Mike Schmidt's hourly pay and comparing that to the minimum wage of the 90s. If Scott Coffin, the game's developer, is just picking random numbers for the payments, this bit of evidence would be meaningless. Except that he's not. At the end of Five Nights 2, you get paid $100.50. Divide that by the 30 hours worked and you get $3.35 an hour, the exact minimum wage for 1987. Which
Bite of
means that
87.
us using minimum wage
Let's
calculations
go.
to identify the year of Five Nights 1 is a perfectly valid way to prove it, and shows that it takes place after the events of Five Nights 2. Still don't believe me? Players brave enough to survive the extra night 6 are rewarded with a bonus check and a newspaper clipping that says the toy robots are getting scrapped, and that the old ones are going into storage for a new, smaller scale version of the restaurant. That would explain why the old models reappear in Five Nights 1 and the toy models don't. And notice how it mentions
And how
a
they're, like, prepared and
smaller
shit.
version
Yeah.
of the restaurant. The building in Five Nights 1 is significantly smaller than the setting of Five Nights 2. Need more evidence? What about the fact that on the first night in the office, the phone guy explains that the robots used to walk around during the day just like they do in Five Nights 2, but not anymore? Or the fact that phone guy dies in the first game, making it hard for him to also be the phone guy in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 if it takes place
Game
after.
theories, my
Call me the
beloved, I
Phantom
know,
Menace,
right?
'cause
Watching
every
all of
way
them.
to Sunday, this
All the game
is
theories.
a prequel. So with that revelation out of the way,
Remember
we're
when
able to
that
piece
was like
together the rest of the
controversial for
timeline
this
and dig a
game?
little
Like,
bit
ooh, it
deeper.
takes place
Posters
before?
everywhere in Five Nights 2 welcome you to this new location, implying
This
that
type
there
as well,
was
not gonna lie.
another Freddy Fazbear's Pizza somewhere before this one. Additionally, the phone guy makes reference to it on night 1, mentioning the old location and how it was left to rot. So we know that there was one Freddy Fazbear's Pizza for the first game, one for the second game, and one that came before both of them that we've never seen. But
Also,
even
hello,
before
how are you?
that, the phone
Because
guy
game
also
theory is
mentions an
good.
even
I'm
older
pretty good
restaurant
so
called
far.
Fred
We're only at
Bear's
second
Family
video, so we're not
Diner,
too
which, aside from
call
its
it? We're not too
confusingly
insane at
different
the
name,
moment.
also had
We're
different
fine.
owners. So let me recap. There's the restaurant from the first game, which is the last in the timeline. The one that you're currently working at in 1987 in Five Nights 2, an older
doing is-
location of Freddy
Well,
Fazbear's
yeah, no,
Pizzeria
it's
left
essentially this.
to
We're
rot,
watching. We're
and the
basically seeing how
original
long I
Fred
can
Bear's
last
Diner.
watching all of these.
Jeez, I hope you're still with me, because this is more complicated than the Zelda timeline.
Oh,
Anyway,
yes,
it's
it
at
is. But
this
is it more
first
complicated than
location,
the
diner,
Evangelion
where the
time?
whole story begins. Submitted for the approval of the Game Theorists Society. This is the true
This is the
tale
thing that also
of
happens,
Five
right?
Nights at Freddy's.
Like, game
When
theory
you
makes
die
you
in
sort
Five
of
Nights at
passive
Freddy's
because like
2,
it has so
before
much
you've even
constant
gotten
like
over the jump
information
scare,
coming
you
being jumped
sometimes
at
get
you
screamed
that you don't
like
really
this.
want to
Oh,
interrupt. You just
turn
kind of
it
want to
off,
like
turn
look
it off.
at it.
It's too horrifying.
It's the perfect sort of like
That youngsters
zone
was
out
ET for the
kind of
Atari,
music,
a
right?
console that came out before
Like
the
background
NES.
noise.
Yes, around the same time as the dinosaurs. It's widely
It
considered
seems like
to
my
be
exact
the
vibes. We'll
worst
stay here
game
instead of
all
Twitch
time,
surfing. No
hence
problem.
me reacting in a
There's many
horrified
things you
manner.
can check out.
See,
The YouTube
humor,
channel
folks,
with edited
but seriously,
stuff.
you
This
get these
place where
disturbing death
I'll be
minigames
here
which,
for
true
at
to the
least
1987 setting, use
not 19
Atari-esque
hours?
graphics to
I'll
depict
have to see.
various horrific events. All the while, a creepy robotic voice spells out
Oh, yeah,
letter by
shit,
letter
I
things
forgot about
like
that in the
help
second game.
them, save them, or save him. These
God,
death
that second
minigames
game was
are
so good.
the most important piece in figuring out the
Right?
true
Because they were
story behind
spooky,
these
and it was like
games.
new
Let's
at the
start
time
with
doing
this
that
one.
shit.
This death minigame
The
has you
8-bit
playing as
minigames.
Freddy, taking cake to screaming children at a birthday party.
Also,
As
just
Freddy
that's
rushes
already,
around
like,
trying to keep the whole
pretty
party
fucked
happy,
up, right? Like, as a
simple,
game
sad
mechanic.
child looks on from outside when suddenly you're powerless to do anything
patch
but
is
look
info
on in
dumped on us.
abject
True.
horror as a purple man pulls up in a car, murders
I think
the
it's perfect for my
child, and
attention span
drives
as well,
off.
because it's
my
constant
belief, loyal
talking, right?
theorists, that this this game takes place at Fredbear's
Also,
Diner.
you're all
and is
loyal theorists now.
chronologically the
You
first
have no
event
choice.
that we see
Y'all get
in
to
this
be it.
timeline. How do I know? Well, it's a small establishment, and there's
Hey,
only
wait a
one
minute.
animatronic.
That little glitch between the Golden Freddy, Fredbear sort of thing, honest to God, that's so funny because technically that bear there would eventually be
Freddy,
revealed
as
to be the
opposed to
Fredbear
all
one,
the
right?
other
So that
games which
glitch
show
technically,
other robots.
that's a
But
weird
more
prediction. It's like one of those
importantly, this
Simpsons
murdered
predictions.
child is the one that sets everything into motion. One of the new tasks added to Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is winding a mysterious music box that we're told placates one of the animatronics. If you fail to wind the music box, what you're introduced to is this terrifying thing, the puppet. It looks like No-Face from Spirited
sad
Away.
that thing
You know
never
what else he
returned in
looks
other
like?
games,
Take a
by the
look at
way.
that murdered child.
Well,
again.
it kinda
See how
did,
his
but not
tear
really,
tracks
you know?
remain visible on his face, even after he's dead? If we assume that they'll continue to stay with him into the afterlife, we can make a pretty good case that this kid's murdered spirit eventually found its way into the puppet animatronic. But that's not all. What jump scare happens after this Save Him minigame? After seeing this tear-stained child's murder reenacted in 8-bit, the puppet jumps out of the screen and attacks you. Coincidence? I don't think so.
See, the thing
That
about map
incident
patterns,
marks
you
the
always
first
change the
time the chain
subject
is
long
ever
enough to-
associated with a violent
You always
act
change the
carried
subject
out
long
against
enough
a
to keep
child,
anyone's
and we can
attention, 'cause he's
infer
gotta
that
go
it was
back to
this
past things he
incident
says,
that
so
caused
you
the
have to
original
remember
owners
things.
of Fredbear's
True,
Diner
like,
to
yeah,
sell
he
off to the
sets up
company
like
now
multiple
known
things, and
as
he like
Fazbear
we'll
Entertainment.
talk about one
Now,
thing,
I don't know
then go
about you,
back
but
to
if I was
like a
senselessly
tangent and stuff like
murdered
that,
and left
you
to
know.
haunt a crappy pizza place for the rest of my life
Who
in the
this guy
body
is
of
a
an
good
awful-looking
relationship
clown
simulator
doll,
kills
I'd
me,
want to get
so
my
does
revenge as
Simba.
soon as possible.
yeah, but
Unfortunately for our
cartoon
vengeful
animals.
puppet, though, it doesn't
It's always
quite
weird
turn
when people
out
try to
that
bring
way.
real
Fast
life
forward a
logic
few
too
years
much
to
into,
Freddy
like, cartoon animal
Fazbear's
shit,
Pizza,
'cause it's
the
like
first
cartoon
location,
animals.
the one that has yet to
Not
appear in
used
game.
specifically, but
This
like
new
in
restaurant
general.
is the one we
So this
learned
thing I
about in
found
my
weird.
earlier episode and throughout the first game, where our pal the murderer uses a golden Freddy suit to lure away and kill
Wow.
5
Was it
children
a golden
in the
Freddy
back
suit?
room. As we read through the various articles on the wall, he gets caught the next day, but the bodies
Sorry, you
are
were
never
mumbling about
found.
Simba.
Presumably
Oh no, because it has to
they've been
do
stuffed
because
into the
so
animatronic
I have
suits. The restaurant stays open for a few months
it has to do
until
with
the
the
dead
whole
body stain
what was
starts
it?
to waft
Has
off
to
the
do with the whole like I
robots,
have
causes the
multiple
place to get
chats
shut
open, so
down
I have
for
the
health
Twitch chat, I
reasons.
have the
But
YouTube
how
chat,
do
and
we
I have the
know this
TikTok
happened
chat.
in the
I'm not
first
doing cake today
pizzeria's
because my
location?
computer's
Again,
being
we
weird
turn
about
to
it.
what the phone
So
guy
I
said.
have basically
On
essentially
night
4
2 of
3
Five
streams going
Nights
on,
2, he
and
mentions the smell
so I'll
coming from the
respond
old
to the other streams
animatronics,
as well.
the
So
smell
like so
that got
sometimes
the
it may
original
seem like
restaurant
I'm
shut
not
down.
talking
We also know that after the Golden
whatchamacallit.
Freddy incident, it took
like what I'm talking about
multiple
doesn't make
months
any
for the restaurant
sense.
to
It's
shut
because yeah, I'm
down.
switching
That
between
couldn't have
different
happened
streams
in
and
the
shit like that.
restaurant
Multitasking
Five
at its
Nights at
finest.
Freddy's 2,
Indeed,
which
there you
is
go.
shut down on night
So
6 and into the foreseeable future. But outside of these lore
So that's
clues, it
why
also
that's
makes
I
logical
still don't have
sense.
fully a
Before
good
the
idea
Golden
for that.
Freddy
Except
murders,
I
there
don't
was
want to
one
like have
child
just
whose
text on top of the
tear-stained soul
screen
existed
constantly. I
in the
did that in the past,
puppet.
but it would also
now
give a
there
lot
are
of
5
issues and
more
shit like
dead
that and
children.
glitches. So
And thanks to
yeah.
another of the death minigames, we find out exactly what happened to them.
What
To
happened to
help
them?
that minigame, the puppet stuffs the dead children into the robotic suits, giving their souls new life. And preps
Again,
them
the
for their
second one just
eternal
made so
mission
much
of
sense. It just
vengeance.
explained
But
everything.
Mad Pat, you say through your chattering teeth, there are only 4 dead children in that game. To which I tell you, look closer if you dare. For the frame right before Golden Freddy's head jumps out and attacks features the lost 5th dead child. And what started as a haunted puppet has suddenly become an army of possessed
So now it's
animatronics
6
out
kids.
for revenge. But wait,
6 dead
that's not all
children.
we know. We also know the murder was committed by the same guy who killed the first child. How? Look at the Foxy death minigame. Twice, Foxy runs out to meet the kids, but the third time we see the
In this
tall
game, we really don't know
again,
how many kids he kills, right? Because like, is
Foxy
Balloon
goes
Boy
to the room to find
possessed?
5 dead
Are the toys
children.
possessed?
Man in Purple
Yes, no.
strikes again.
We
Skip
don't
ahead
really
to
know. So
1987,
what is this like? Or is this the
finally
point where it's like
bringing us to the
technically you
events
have
of Five
10
Nights at Freddy's
children at
2.
this point?
The old animatronics have been retired, and the cute new versions of all our favorite friends come equipped with facial recognition software that just so happens to be connected to a sex offender database. Seems like an oddly specific detail, right? Until you consider that the last restaurant was closed for having children get kidnapped and killed by an employee. It's a safety measure. You see how it all ties together? So you have some
yes.
animatronics
Let's go to the
possessed by
pizza
vengeful
restaurant.
spirits,
It
and
has
another
advertised as
watching
having
prowl for predators. But that
great
doesn't stop
security.
our friend the Purple Man from continuing his life's work
Purple
of
Man.
murdering children at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. As we learn from the phone guy on nights 4 through 6, the new restaurant is once again under investigation as, well, I'll let him explain.
Hello. What on earth are you doing there? Didn't you get the memo? The place is closed down, at least for a while. Someone used one of the suits. We had a spare in the back, a yellow one. Someone used it. now none of them are acting right.
The Golden Freddy Killer struck again.
It's lovely
The
as well
final
how
death
it's the Golden
minigame
Freddy at this,
also
because
supports
the idea of
this.
Springtrap just
You,
was
as
not here
Freddy,
yet.
must
Although
walk
by that
an
point,
exact
Scott must have
replica
already
of
known that he
you,
was setting up
and
Springtrap more than
animatronics
likely,
all
right?
in their
So
proper
that's actually very
places,
interesting,
seeing
like
the 5
foreshadowing in a way.
children spread out through the various rooms.
In my opinion,
And
at least.
based on what Phone Guy says, it seems like the guilty party was the former night guard, the one who moved to day shift and the one your character replaced. I mean,
You
Phone
were the
Guy makes
killer.
plenty of uncomfortable references to suddenly having an available position during the day.
When we get it all sorted out, we may move you to the day shift. The position just became...
I love your mall also. Hello.
Available.
Thank you. Hello. Welcome to the
Your
stream.
shift yet,
Welcome
but
to my
we'll-
my self-flagellation stream, where I watch all of this crap. We're on video too.
Work there a week, or
So
is it
we aren't
someone
really
we
that
trust?
far at all.
Someone with a long history with these characters, someone no one would suspect. The head guard, the one forced to fill empty positions and teach new recruits.
Ah,
by
this is when the
giving them
theory, yeah.
instructions over the
This
phone.
is when
Is the
Phone Guy,
man
Purple Man is Phone Guy theory,
Ask
which is a
yourself
really
what do we
good
really
theory. I
know
still
about
think
Phone
some of it
Guy?
should hold
Let's
up.
Look at what he says.
Right? You could
First, he
retool it to
always
still be the
speaks
case.
like an outsider looking in. He refers to the management of the company as they. So he's not a higher up like the CEO or even
I
a
followed.
manager.
Thank you for
but
the
he's
follow.
also
Holy
not a
shit.
typical
Nice.
day
Wait.
worker, as
Why
he
don't I
says
have,
things
like, a
like the
thing open for that?
employees and the staff.
Oh, there you
so
go.
he
Now I can
works
see it.
there, but
Thank you for
isn't
the follow.
generally considered
Oh,
a
yeah.
regular member of the company. We also know that he's qualified to take the role of a night guard. As we learn, he plans to take over the position sometime after night 6, and is on his way out of the position by the time the first game starts.
For now, just make us
Damn.
tonight.
How do you then do
When
all the
place
nights so
eventually opens again,
long?
I'll probably take a night shift myself. I actually worked in that office before you. I'm finishing up my last week now, as a matter of fact.
What else do we know? Well, we know that
Can't wait to see
Phone
more
Guy
of
has a
you.
long
Hey,
history
if
with
you're
the company,
interested in
being
watching
with
more
it at
content of me that
least
isn't me
since the first
watching
pizzeria that we
videos like
haven't
this,
played in.
go to the
So
YouTube channel. You can
openly
scroll
admits
down
that
on it. One of the
Foxy
images
the
brings you
Pirate
to
was
it,
always
and
his
there's a lot of also
favorite, and
edited
that he
content
was
and stuff like
never
that, and a
one to
million
quit
fucking
because,
VODs.
as he says,
So
it was
yeah, there's a lot of stuff
always
left for you to discover if you feel like watching the YouTube part.
Foxy ever appear in the hallway? Probably not. I was just curious.
This clue. This was such a good clue in the game, right?
I'll be honest. I never liked that puppet thing. It's always thinking, and it can go anywhere.
Okay, but what do we
Exactly.
know about the purple guy, the Golden Freddy Killer? Well, let's look at the minigames again. He has a long history with the franchise,
Bunny.
killing since it was Fredbear Diner. We see him smiling as he watches Foxy perform, Phone Guy's favorite, right before Foxy sees the room of dead children. We know that the puppet and the killer wouldn't get along, which would explain Phone Guy's discomfort around a creature that he describes as always thinking. And here's the bombshell. We know the killer is a security guard. How? On very rare occasions during the Save Them minigame, while Freddy chases the puppet, the Purple Man appears and chases you. Look on his chest. It's an orange badge, the kind that would be given to a security guard. Now look at his eyes. Notice the white spots? An odd, seemingly innocuous detail. But now look at Golden Freddy. Look deep into his dead, vacant eyes.
That's an interesting connection how this was supposed to be
White
the idea.
Spots.
I remember this
Pinpricks.
part, but I got into a security
Barely
breach.
visible. They're there. And now finally, what do we see in Purple Guy's hand? Well, the
Like,
Atari
look at it.
graphics make it tough to discern. It's not like any gun
A
or
rocking
knife I've
dildo.
seen.
He
No,
takes the
that to me
animatronics
is
apart with a
very
dildo.
clearly
Or a weird
phone.
crank, as they
The
say
robotic
lately.
voice is spelling out for you. Save
I still
them,
think it
save
was supposed to
them.
be
But
Phone
when
Guy,
Purple
not gonna
Guy,
lie.
Phone Guy.
And that when he
has
dies in the
you,
first game, that's when he
screen
becomes
crashes,
spring
and
locked.
all
That's
you're
that
left
night.
with is you can't. But that's not where it ends, Internet. As you and I both know, there's still 5 Nights at Freddy's 1. If this game is last in line and the puppet is truly pulling the strings behind all of this, you might be asking yourself where he is in 5 Nights 1. We know the other animatronics got scrapped, but this ghostly guy should still be around if this timeline I proposed is correct. And get this, the puppet is in the first game.
They should have just
Take a look at
retconned
the East
it, by the
hallway.
way. Like, just
Seems
like
pretty
add
normal,
new
right?
textures,
But every so
image
often,
renders,
the
where he's
posters on
sometimes
the
in there, right?
walls change to this: a crying child with 2 streaming lines down his face. Look familiar?
Disturbing as fuck,
It
by the
should.
way.
The Five
Yeah.
Nights at Freddy's series is about vengeance. One
Vengeance!
child, 6.
I will have my
Looking
revenge.
for revenge.
Zeus!
Sick child killer.
Oh.
The purple guy. The guy who just so happens to be the first voice you hear when turning on these games. Save them.
It's a good
Save
theory.
them. You can't. But hey, that's just a theory. A game.
A game theory! Thanks for watching.
Make sure you wind that music
What?
box by clicking the subscribe button. Otherwise, the puppet might get ya.
Oh yeah, then it's just like stuff. So okay. Oh god, he's gonna do something cringe again. Wait, I'm quickly go to the bathroom. Be right back. Give me 5 seconds. Wait, let me bring back. Where's that one page I had? Where's the one page I had? I had the one page with the things. God damn it. No, what I wanted to say is that, hey, up until this point, this theory is flippin' good in my opinion, by the way, right? Like the whole, oh, it must be this guy. Why? Because of these reasons. Like, it all makes sense up until now. There's none of it that, like, makes no sense. It's a very good, like, story that gets told, and it's very self-contained, right? The third game adds the whole twist where, like, oh, we get to actually see the killer, and it rounds it all off as like a cool little trilogy. It's from the fourth game onwards that the timeline becomes all stupid and shit, in my opinion, right? No, true hell would be to force you to watch all the game theory videos. No, watching all the game theorist videos would be even more insane, right? If I would just watch all of the game theory videos, which would just take too long. This is a right. By the way, think about it. Over an 8-year period, 58 videos of them being like Five Nights at Freddy's. No wonder game theory always gets said it's like it's the Five Nights at Freddy's channel. Like that's a lot of videos to be Five Nights at Freddy's. It's like you could make the argument like, yeah, you're like a God of War VTuber because you only play God of Wars, and it's like, yeah, I played all of them, so you could suppose that it's just some part of that is true, perhaps, but like in a way, right? Like you can make that argument. Lol, I'm such a FNAF nerd, right? And like watching these videos, it's you know what surprises me the most? How well they hold up. Like, by the way, like we've watched 2 videos now. This is a half an hour of content, and to me, the pacing of them, because they're like very quickly edited, right, still holds up very much. MatPat's like very clear, like their vocal narration and stuff like that. It's kind of unchanged. Game theory is this weird like time capsule. It doesn't really change over time. It's just kind of the same and good. Of course, it's a theme. That's a team of people that puts these videos together and stuff like that. You know, gotta be fair there too. But like the theme of people that do it, they're good at what they're doing. I really wanted to. Sorry, why are you only streaming when I'm gonna be streaming? I really wanted to watch this one too. Love game theory. Game theory is great. That's the thing. Yeah, you could stream and have me in the background, and people go like, "What the hell is that noise?" It's me. Well, it's probably more MatPat's videos. Like, I'm gonna be honest. In between, I'm gonna try and see if I can like find segments to talk more about it. Because the thing, right? When MatPat talks, I don't want to talk over him. I just want to let MatPat talk. I don't want to talk over MatPat because he's talking and I'm listening to him talk. So I don't want to like be all like. Sometimes I do, but like I guess I have maybe the audio loud enough where like for me it would be weird to constantly like interact with it. Hi, welcome to the TikTok chat. Hey. Who's rambling in the background about FNAF? Why do I hear MatPat and some guy rambling in the background about FNAF? Yes, it's the restream of the Tori stream. No, but up to this point, like these first 2 videos, they're so self-contained in like a good way, right? Like hey, it's the golden. It's either the golden Freddy killer or it's just the purple guy. The purple guy is the killer. The kids are being slaughtered. It's all about killing kids. You know, that was the great thing about 2014, 2015. The greatest game content was all about killing kids. And the kids were actually dead. Like, those were pixel sprites, but those were pixel sprites of dead kids in games. Hell yeah. Security breach? No, where's my dead children in Security Breach? I never see them. Boo. Boo. Imagine honestly, they could have probably made Security Breach better by just including a few dead kids somewhere. Like, imagine, right, if in Security Breach, at a certain point near the end of the game, you go down the lift, right, towards the Five Nights 6 pizzeria and stuff, but instead of the Five Nights 6 place, it's like a research and development lab, and you see, like, kids strung up, or, like, the silhouettes of kids in, like, body bags and stuff like that. That should be fucked up. probably not be a rated G game then, but still, like, hey, I love FNAF, bro. No, indeed, FNAF is pretty good, and that's why we're watching all of it, and it's, honest to God, more than likely, it's up until, like, the next 2-3 videos that I'm very much still a fan of, like the original FNAF, right, which is 1, 2, 3. The moment 4 gets introduced, it all becomes like, and then the books start happening, and then, and that's when I not checked out, but like a tiny bit of, checked out a tiny bit when it came to my like engagement with the fandom and stuff like that. I would watch the game theory videos, but not like really pay attention to whatever the hell else was happening. Wait, let me catch up on chat, sorry. Streamception imminent. SCB got nothing on FNF. Where the dead children's at. Isn't the ghost the blob? Oh my god, sort of, maybe the ghosts are the blob, although at this point the theory for security breach is that the blob is the agony, the remnants of agony bundled together in one like angry animal that doesn't even resemble the original ghosts anymore. It is just their emotion, sort of like how the Grudge is like the Grudge, like the Japanese movies, stuff like that. It's like, it's more that the place itself is haunted, not that the souls are there anymore or whatever. Let's clip it out of context, Lamau. Leading is right. I'm gonna stream more Dredge. Oh shit, have fun with that, by the way. But yeah, no, yeah. It's weird because as well, like, there isn't really a clear, like, okay, this universe has souls in it. It has very high levels of technology in it. But what it doesn't have is the what would you say? You wouldn't really say it has. Fuck. Oh god, words, Tori, words. It's like, oh, what's the soul logic here, right? Like, oh, okay, hell exists because purgatory is sort of a place, but then places can be haunted, but does that mean the souls are like a physical thing, or are they just like an emotion that gets attached to a place? I guess kind of both, but not really. Anyway, let's continue, I guess, with the third video, all FNAF mysteries solved, and Springtrap. Here you go. Oh boy, who misses the series when it was just about murdering children? Now there's robot kids and time-traveling ball pits. Yeah, you see, the later shit is just so weird. That was already 3 years ago. Ugh, god damn it. Oh no! Oh no! He's gonna touch! No! Don't touch me, Matt! No! Ah! I love the idea, but at least like put the black circles on your eyes and shit. Go if you're going for the 2008 vibe. This song's still a bop, not gonna lie. Oh, am I gonna get copyright blasted because of this fucking intro? Oh!
Hello, Internet.
If that's the case, then it's a them problem.
Game
theory!
Or at least FNAF things come to those who wait. And man, when
oh yeah, because he actually waited with this video for a while. Everyone was waiting for the game theory video, but like it took a while.
The trailer for the third was 2 months later, and like 4 minutes after that, the game was available to download. So forgive me if I was caught with my pants down on that one.
More than likely, I
wasn't
imagine.
Prepared for it. But even more impressive than that abbreviated timeline was your ability to rip that final game apart. Hours after the release of the game, people were discussing good versus bad endings, 8-bit Atari cake, glitching through walls, and punching a flipping code into cement bricks arranged like a telephone dial pad. In regards to that last one, I have 2 things to say. First off, well done to you guys for figuring it out so quickly, and secondly, Scott, seriously. Seriously, Scott? Oh look, here's a wall. Let me just dial in my phone number. Beep boop boop beep boop boop. What? When did we jump from a point-and-click horror game to magical fantasy? This thing is like platform 9 3/4. I expect Harry effing Potter to apparate into Pirate's Cove or something. Jeez, here I was thinking that you'd plug your numbers into, the one other place that you see numbers in this game, the bonus jump scare menu.
Oh.
Something, anything, but nope, dialing it into
also is like the best design to ever come out of this franchise.
Much more sense.
Original animatronics look spooky and pretty good, right?
Sorry,
But like
just needed to get
Springtrap
that
is
off my
just the
chest.
best
Moving
design.
on. Now with
Like
50
with the corpse in
days
it, right?
at Freddy's under our belts and a few overtime
15
hours
days at
clocked
Freddy.
in for good measure.
Hey,
we have ourselves
theory
a
time.
Completed
I
video
miss
game
the old
trilogy
school
with the
spooky
third game
cringe
giving
edits.
us
True,
more jump scares,
they are kind of
more
good.
phone guy, and more fad.
See if I can
But
do
this
that
game
with the
also
VTuber
contains
avatar.
the
That'd be
final
interesting,
clues
right?
we need to get some closure on this game's deviously vague story. Scotty C certainly didn't make things any easier for us, but at this point I think we finally have enough puzzle pieces scattered across the 3 games.
Do you, Matt?
A fairly accurate picture of this franchise.
Do you, Matt?
Lore. Since you guys have, let's just say, above average interest in this theory, I wanted to create something that answered as many questions as
how many
possible
times is he gonna
about
say
this
that when
franchise.
this-
But
take a
beyond
shot
just
every
the
time he says
details,
that.
The question we all want an answer to:
Question.
what exactly happened in the story throughout this series? It's a pretty fundamental question to not have an answer to, and yet, despite thousands of videos, forum entries, and Tumblr
No, not
posts,
just this channel in order. Make all this
hey,
truth
put that
a
away.
truth hell if we
Behave
would
yourself.
need to
This
watch
game
all
is
other videos
already
and other
scary
channels.
enough
Yo.
without you sticking your hook somewhere
Yeah,
it doesn't
style,
belong, okay?
style
Despite all
game,
those things,
film,
we still don't
and
have a clear picture on the details. Yes, there's a
Food?
child
Food
killer
theory.
on the loose,
Yeah.
the infamous purple guy.
Purple guy.
Fazbear Pizzerias is his hunting ground of choice for years, but going into the third
He's like the
game,
Predator,
we still
except he's a
weren't
predator.
sure about who this guy was, or even how many victims he'd officially taken. Then there are the animatronics. Sure, we generally understand that the killer's dead bodies have been stuffed into some of the suits,
But by
and
who?
that with the help of the puppet, the kids were able to find new life in those robotic bodies. But then, what about Shadow Bonnie and Shadow Freddy?
Oh, God,
who
this is
randomly
worse.
appeared
That's-
in FNAF 2, only to become prominent figures throughout Part 3. How do they fit in?
This is
What
where
about
the
ghost
fuckery already kind of starts, right?
Someone we've been talking about since
The shadow
first
animatronics?
game, and yet
Ugh.
we still
Take a
don't
shot for
really
every
know.
game
Well,
theory.
now that we finally
pretty
have
good one.
all the facts, I think it's time we revisit my timeline I presented in the last episode to see what I got right, what I got wrong. Yes, you heard that. Wrong. No shame.
Aw.
I'm a big boy. Mommy, wow, I'm a big kid now.
The
and finally
fuck?
fill in the missing details to
Hey,
create
yo.
what I believe to be my definitive Five Nights theory. And boy, howdy, it is a doozy. So strap in, theorists. You wanted it, you're about to get it. Overall, the timeline of the franchise I presented in the last video still holds strong. Decades before the name became a horror legend meriting its own
Everything still
theme park
stems
style
back pretty much to that
attraction,
second
Freddy
video.
Fazbear
That second
got his
video's
start at
timeline is
Fredbear Family
pretty
Diner.
accurate.
It's here where our story begins
For
as
most of it.
Purple Guy takes his first victim, something we see in the Take Cake minigame from Five Nights at Freddy's 2. What tells us that this is Fredbear's and first in the timeline? Well, as I said last time, in addition to it being a small space, the only character we see is Freddy, whereas all other minigames
Get
feature
ready for
multiple
Freddy.
animatronics. He's
Inhale
also
my dong,
holding a
enragement
cupcake.
child.
Since that would later become Chica's signature item, the event depicted in this game must have come before she was created.
Oh.
Additionally, notice that the purple guy's murder takes place outside the building. This is the only time we see him murder someone outside the walls of a Fazbear building, which implies that this is likely his first victim. Serial killers often have what's known as a signature, a way of killing that's unique to
Yeah, this
him
is just true crime.
alone.
This is
For Purple
every
Guy,
this
his
was everyone's
signature is
first true
dressing
crime
in
thing.
an animatronic costume,
I
then
just put
looking
that.
to
That's
kill
my
the
game theory.
Yeah,
That
killing them
game
there.
theory is
This
responsible for
murder
the true
occurs
crime genre.
before he developed this particular style, implying that it's the first. From there, we know that the puppet jump scare that always follows this minigame, combined with the tier design on both the dead child and the puppet's mask,
That seems so
implies that
ominous-
the soul of
obvious,
the
right?
first child now exists in the puppet. The
Can't
event
m-
caused the
can't-
original owners to sell.
can't
the
believe people
Fredbear
were
name,
debating
who then
that. It's, like,
rebranded
so
and avoided
obvious,
the
like, yeah, of
negative
course.
PR, becoming what we know today as Fazbear Entertainment. They then opened a new chain of restaurants, which we never saw in the games until the release of Five Nights 3. This is not Fredbear Diner like many interpret, but rather the first location of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, predating the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. How do we know? Well, by paying close attention to the old recordings of Phone Guy dug up in FNAF 3, he introduces us to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, not Diner, before explaining the functionality of the special spring-lock suits.
Welcome to your new career as a performer/entertainer for Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Right now we have two specially designed suits that double as both animatronic and suit.
He also lets
Such
us
a
know
cool
that
mechanic.
the animatronics are still allowed to walk around freely during the day, meaning that this is happening before the bite of 87, in which an animatronic bites someone during business hours, removing their frontal lobe and resulting in the animatronics being restricted to moving around only at night.
Why? That's still stuff.
Are set to turn and walk towards sound ease.
As Phone Guy informs us, and as we see in the Stage 01 minigame, there are two specialty suits, a Golden Bonnie suit and the origins of the infamous Golden Freddy. But the lifespan of these Springlock suits is actually short-lived as we learn about their one fatal flaw.
After learning of an unfortunate incident at the sister location involving multiple and simultaneous spring lock failures, the company has deemed the suits temporarily unfit for employees.
That's a good theory still. Are that supposed to be, are they supposed to have learned that from Purple Guy dying or from random employees? Right, like
and a Freddy suit. Where else in the game do we see
the Shadow
Freddy
animatronics,
sharing
right?
a unique feature that no one else in the game possesses? Shadow Freddy and Shadow Bonnie. Could this be the origin of the paranormal Shadow suits? Yes, actually. Shadow Freddy and Shadow Bonnie are tied to the ghosts of the employees who died in the spring suits. Get this, the employees' bodies were taken out of the suits, which is why their appearance is more paranormal and why they can't possess them as well as the children can. Plus, having this as their origin would explain the in-game behavior of both suits. In FNAF 3, we see that Purple Guy hides in a secret safe room that has been built into every pizzeria. A room that's hidden to customers and invisible to the animatronics.
This is a funky design.
During the minigames that occur between nights, we see
they gave
Shadow Freddy lead the other animatronics to this secret room, only to cause them to glitch out and then get torn apart by Purple Guy. This supernatural origin story is how Shadow Freddy is able to enter the safe room when other animatronics can't. How he's able to lead you to that room in the first place when other animatronics wouldn't be able to see it based on their programming, and even why he leads you there, knowing that Purple Guy attacking you will eventually free your soul. That's also why there's no Purple Freddy suit when you do finally enter that room. It's not an alternate Purple Guy costume like many believe, it's an apparition. Suck on that, Harry Potter, I knew someone would apparate eventually. It also explains why Shadow Bonnie's minigame in FNAF 3 always starts on Stage 01, the spring suits, and why it's the one animatronic we control that has the ghostly ability to glitch, fly, and teleport. As we concluded last episode, this is also the point in the timeline of the first missing children's incident, the one we learn about via newspaper clippings in Five Nights 1. So, based on the newspaper clipping evidence we have, we know that a murderer dressed in one of the suits lured children to a back room and killed them. He's starting to develop his signature. But one nagging detail FNAF theorists have been wondering is, what suit does he use for his disguise? The answer? Golden Bonnie. Why? Well, remember the phone guy saying the faulty suits were being retired to an appropriate location. There's a high likelihood they're being stored in one of the safe rooms in the restaurants. Plus, we hear in FNAF 2 that the Purple Guy has a habit of using a yellow suit.
We had a spare in the back, a yellow one. Someone used it.
But why not Golden Freddy? Phone Guy tells us so at the beginning of Night 5 in FNAF 3.
Management has also been made aware that the Spring Bonnie animatronic has been noticeably moved.
My, what an oddly specific detail to include, Scott Cawthon. And remember, these tapes that play in FNAF 3 date all the way back to the first pizzeria location, which is why this detail is so important. It reflects Purple Guy starting to develop his signature killing pattern. From there, we know the rest of the story.
Great signature
Purple Guy
killing
kills
pattern.
The kids, stuffs the bodies into the suits, hide them, but as we read the paper, is caught on camera and arrested. Meanwhile, the puppet gives life to the children.
Which is still fucked that that's a part of the franchise, right? Like, he gets caught.
Or is that really how it goes? Let's go back to the Give Gifts, Give Life minigame. The children are lying there dead, and the puppet first tries to give them presents. Weird, right? Weird until you consider that his place is at the prize corner. Giving presents is the only thing he knows that can make children happy. It's a reflex. Remember, this is still a child spirit in this puppet, but when that doesn't work, the puppet goes around one more time and does the only other thing it can think of: put the bodies into the suits. You heard that right. In trying to save the children, he's the one hiding them in the animatronic suits, not the killer like we've been assuming.
The killer just wants to put them all around.
Child, as there's only 4 here. Well, as we pointed out last time, the 5th child is there too, appearing at the very end of the minigame and taking the role of Golden Freddy. But remember, Golden Freddy is a decommissioned spring-lock suit at this point, deemed too unsafe to be functional. The reason he's slumped over and can't move like the rest is that his endoskeleton has been taken out. He's in suit mode, not free roaming mode. He physically doesn't have the mechanisms in place to stand up and move. Possessed or no, a dead child's spirit just can't give a boneless suit the ability to stand. This also explains the lone naked endoskeleton that appears occasionally in both Five Nights 2 and Five Nights 1.
That one never really got a good explanation, did he?
Golden Freddy. Whew. I know I made you wait for this one, so I knew I had to make it count. Heck, if there ain't a lot to cover. Still with me? Good, because we're ready.
Let's go!
Location. You see, since the puppet hid the bodies, no one
Dramatic
knows they're
music
in the
time.
suits until they start oozing and smelling, which, as we see in the papers, eventually gets the place shut down for health violations. The company tries to recover from, quote, the tragedy that took place there many years ago, but can't, and eventually is forced to shut its doors for good. This leads to the trailer for Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Finally, we're actually going to talk about a game in the series. Seriously, can you believe we've been going this whole time on locations that aren't even settings for the 3 main games? That is why this lore is so challenging, but also so interesting. Anyway, forgotten, dismantled, deactivated. These are the words you see at the beginning of the trailer. Back when the debate about whether this game was a sequel or a prequel to the first game, these words were like a follow-up, that everything had been shut down since the first game.
Not stinky suits.
These words are a reference to the business being closed down after that first missing children's incident. That's why posters everywhere in Five Nights 2 are all about the brand new Fazbear Pizza. It's the grand reopening after years of being out of business. That's also why the new toy animatronics have built-in facial recognition software to a criminal database. They need to be careful to prevent another incident. But, as we know, it doesn't work. As we see in the Save Them minigame, 5 more children get killed in this new location. We know it's the new location because the minigame map's layout perfectly matches this new Fazbear business. We also know it couldn't have happened earlier in the timeline, as both the old animatronics and
how many locations were there
are
supposedly?
presented in the game.
I wonder if they bring that up in
the puppet solution.
I wonder if the movie
saving
will
the
technically
kids
give maybe
is
answers to the
stopping
games and
killer.
shit.
He enlists
More than the
help
fucking
of Freddy
books
to
did.
try and SAVETHEM, leading the bear to the killer's location. Except Purple Guy came prepared, equipped with not a phone, but rather something to help him tamper with the animatronics. He knows that something fishy is going on with these robots, because he's been watching, studying. The puppet wants Freddy to save them, to which the killer's answer is only this: you can't. So
Which means that Purple Guy goes up against like gigantic fucking animatronics, by the way. Like, hey, let's like for a second appreciate like how much of a fearless motherfucker he was. Yeah.
All that next week. Come back.
Oh yeah, this is where he started like cutting them up.
Just a theory. A game theory.
A game theory. There you go. The fuck?
Sure you don't miss part 2 by clicking subscribe. Well, honestly, you still might miss it. The subscribe button is really just a glorified bookmark button, but still.
Hey yo, don't disparage the don't disparage the button. Wait, where's my background music? There you go. There we go. We're on to the fourth video. Let's go. William being a Chad. But that's true, right? Think about that. Like, just everything we've been told in the games, right? And even if you do like the VR experience, haven't done it, but I've seen videos on it, right? That show you what the scale is of these motherfuckers. Like, these suits are not small. They're like pretty big. So for William just to walk up to them with like just a crank in his hand, just like, how does he like anime fight them? Or like, bah, 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 like is he that quick or whatever? Like, think about the maneuverability there. Like, even the security guard like gets eaten by them, but William is there confident, just walking up to them, 3 of them if he has to, and just disabling all of them. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, he is Funtime Freddy is so big. Funtime Freddy is big, right? And William Afton just walking up to there, destroying him. Well, William Afton at this time is just the purple guy. Shouldn't be calling him William. That's a book thing, I think, right? Yeah, the Afton robotics thing. That's like a later edition. Like now it's just purple guy. If the next God of War game takes place in Egypt mythology, we see Min with his giant pee-pee. Yes. Yes, we would. Giant pee-pee bear. No! Five Nights. I wonder if anyone ever made that, because also the cool thing that they did about around the time of Five Nights got popular, right, is because it's, from a technical perspective, it's a relatively simple game to make, right? So you had a lot of copycats. I wonder if one of them ever was like a copycat where it's like, oh, you're like in a robotic sex shop. That would be funny. And the literal objective is try not to get fucked in the night. Oh, that's dumb. That's a dumb take. Oh. Five Nights at Fuckboys, except for real. Anyway, let's just continue. Let's see who is the purple guy. Probably still the phone guy at this point, I think. If I remember, again, this is the thing, right? I watched these all when they came out, so for me, it's like I don't. One, I'm gonna start like facts are gonna like start bleeding into each other, but two, I don't fully know if I remember everything correctly, so it's like as it happens, I remember it, sort of, right? Which is interesting. So I wonder if this game he like doubles down on the phone guy, being the phone guy, which I honestly still think is the only like good option at this point, right? Or just a total random person. I wouldn't know. Yeah, let's continue. Oh shit! It's glitchy and shit. No! Doop 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 doop. This video has so much hype behind it.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to
Game Theory.
We may not have made FNAF, but I like to think we've at least made it a bit more interesting. So in
Have we been liking the
long-awaited,
videos?
all questions
Whoops.
answered FNAF theory, we covered everything from the origins of the shadow animatronics, to the reason for Golden Freddy's ghostly behavior, to proof of what suit the killer uses. We clarified the timeline and even went so far as to dispel the myth that the killer is the one shoving the bodies into the suits. Click here if you missed it to get caught up. Don't worry, I'll wait. This is a pausable video after all. But today we're covering the major questions from the franchise, the final bits of the timeline, the ending of the game, and most importantly of all, the identity of the purple guy. So enough intro, let's cut to the chase.
Cut.
When we left things off, there had been another round of murder done in Fazbear Pizza.
I love how casually he
Once
narrates
again,
this.
the Golden Bonnie
Ah,
suit
yes, that
and
weekly
another
killer,
5 kids
going about it, killing all the kids, you know.
Save them minigame from FNAF 2. The place gets closed for investigation a few days later, but the one thing that practically everyone overlooks in this location is that it gets reopened. In FNAF 2, the Night 1 phone call welcomes you to your new summer job at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Hello and welcome to your new summer job at the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Summer job.
Oh boys, these
And
are so
yet, the
old. They are, right?
end
Like
of
this is 7 years ago, by the way.
November. There is not a single place in the world where November is a summer month. Not one. Meaning that these tapes, all these tapes, are pre-recorded. And honestly, that shouldn't be a surprise. Phone Guy's calls are recordings in every game. In FNAF 1, before Phone Guy dies, he says he's glad he recorded these messages when he did.
I'm kind of glad that I recorded my messages for you.
And then in FNAF 3, they find the old training tapes the Phone Guy made.
First of all, we found some vintage audio training cassettes. Dude, these are like prehistoric. I think they were like training tapes.
In short,
think they were
all
like-
Phone Guy's messages are unstuck in time, not recorded anytime.
That's kinda spooky. That's even more spooky, right?
That includes the ones in
Ew.
FNAF 2 talking about children going missing. The pizzeria isn't being shut down for an investigation of some missing children the week you happen to be working there. You're listening to old tapes meant for the night security guard from months ago. Need more proof? Night 6's call references a birthday party happening as the last event before the building closes. But what decorations do we see put up throughout the building for the entirety of
Yeah,
the
it's
week
decaying.
you're working there?
It's closed
Happy
down.
birthday banners.
You're like a
Confusing?
skeleton crew,
You
right?
betcha. Game changing? Absolutely. This means that both Jeremy and Fritz, the characters you play as throughout FNAF 2, aren't the killer purple guy at all. They were both working in November, after the yellow suit investigation and the killer getting charged. Which brings us to the other key point in the timeline, the budget bite of 87.
The bite of 87. Let's
Frontal
go.
lobe nibble on that first fateful
Nibble.
night at Freddy's. We've wanted to know more about this bizarre attack, the one that ends up resulting in animatronics no longer being allowed to walk around during the day. But now, 3 games in, we do know more. We know it took place in the location of FNAF 2 based on the 1987 date on Jeremy's paycheck. And furthermore, the newspaper clipping that ends FNAF 2 gives us a clue that it's the bite which closes this version of the restaurant, not some serial killing. Quote, after being open a few short weeks, the restaurant is closing its doors, the article says, with the new animatronics being scrapped for possible malfunction. That's game designer Scott Cawthon telling us that one of the new toy animatronics bit someone during the day. Why
Was that the bite of 87?
Scrapped while the old
Markiplier.
ones get kept for possible reorganization.
True.
Well, outside of an obvious need to retcon why these new robots didn't appear in Five Nights 1, it's because the company considered them safer, relatively speaking. So, then who's the bite?
They just were
Well,
stinky.
it's none other than the pile of scraps and parts, Mangle. The most obvious clue is the animatronic's unhinged jaw. The frontal lobe is the biggest part of the human brain, and the size and shape of the other toy robots' mouths just wouldn't be able to handle the size of the human head, especially
That's what she said,
compared to
Matt.
Mangle's narrow snout and wide open mouth. There's also Mangle's sharper teeth and potential angle of attack. As shown by its jump scare, Mangle goes for the top of the head. And who got bit?
Ugh.
Well, there isn't enough evidence to say definitively, but your most likely candidate would be fan favorite Jeremy Fitzgerald. Jeremy passes the test, and on his paycheck at the end of the week, he's welcomed into the family, presumably getting moved to day shift. Fritz gets hired to replace him on day 7, but then promptly gets fired for tampering with the animatronics. That means he's
And
not
being
likely the one to
stinky.
get bit, and instead the person
love
who
pizza.
follows him on day
Right,
shift
it's
is, leaving
fine
Jeremy
here.
as the most likely
Can't get
frontal
pizza anymore, too
lobeless
bad.
candidate. But regardless of whether it's Jeremy or some other customer we've never met,
I
someone
hate it
gets
when she
bit,
bites the top of my head.
front
Hey, yo,
As the
indeed,
newspaper
Felix.
clippings show, the
It's true,
old
though.
animatronics go
Top of
into
the head gets
storage
bitten, that's
away
not
at a
fun.
smaller location with a lower budget.
No teeth,
Fast
goddammit.
forward to the 90s and FNAF 1. We know it's the
Technique.
90s based on the hourly rate of the paycheck received by Mike Schmidt, security guard extraordinaire from the first game, something we proved in our first Five Nights video. And now we can breathe a sigh of relief, because this was the beautiful time long ago, last August, when the games weren't so complicated, when the biggest mysteries were a game-crashing gold bear.
This is video number 4, by the way.
No death
Of 58.
no puppets, no need to shoehorn in extra overcomplicated storylines. That all would come later when the first game became a smash hit and got itself some sequels. And boy, did those sequels make things complicated. They both featured 8-bit minigames revealing
Until this
more
point, it's
details
pretty
about
easy.
this location from the original game. First things first, we know that the purple guy kills 5 children here. We see it in the Foxy.
Don't forget, on
Go-Go
Twitch you can
minigame
easily
from
make
FNAF
clips,
2.
and from
Foxy
YouTube you
runs
also have a
past
clip
the
feature, but I
window
don't know how good it
to
works,
see
by the way,
5 dead
so...
bodies. Sorry, no fireworks this time, Foxy. And how do we know it's the FNAF
Although
1
the YouTube stream is
location?
the better
Well,
stream.
it's the only time the game when Foxy's stage, Pirate
Nope.
Cove, is located to the west of a dining area. See how he performs for the children by running to the right? That matches the map layout of the FNAF 1 pizzeria. We
Oh.
also know from the FNAF 3 minigames that this is where the purple guy dies inside a golden Springlock Bonnie suit in a safe room near the back. One built so that it would never show up on camera, conveniently explaining why it never appeared in the first game. But hold on, weren't those safe rooms sealed up a long time ago? I mean, we touched on this last episode, but the old recordings of Phone Guy we listened to throughout FNAF 3 say that these rooms are being closed off, discontinued, and will never
That
be
picture is
mentioned
haunting,
again.
by the way.
Why
That
would a
black and white
location
picture.
20 years
That's
later
that's the
possess
image in my mind
unless
still for those
it
things.
was the same building as the first Freddy Fazbear's
The
Pizza
twist!
location.
This is the
That's
biggest twist,
why
Ryan, I
it's
can
in
lie.
such disrepair when we see it in the FNAF 3 minigames, boarded up with rats on the floor. It's been closed down for years, which also means the dead kids from the Foxy Go 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 minigame aren't another set of new victims, cause seriously, at this point, the killer would have made his way through like a short bus full of pizza-hungry children. No, those kids are the first 5 dead kids, the ones who would eventually possess Old Bonnie, Chica, Freddy Foxy, and Golden Freddy. I mean, look, if the animatronics were possessed at this point, don't don't you think Foxy would be attacking Purple Guy rather than just running past him to perform for some dead kids? This also explains the random cutscene from FNAF 2 where the puppet's looking into Freddy's eyes. You can tell by the tables in the background and the design of both Bonnie and Chica that this is the FNAF 1 location with the old animatronics on stage. But it's not a flash forward to the game's next location, but rather a flash back to the moment the puppet brought these characters, these children, to life. Okay, but that's just tying together some loose ends in the story. We're interested in how this whole thing ends, and those FNAF 3 minigames give us the conclusion we're looking for. These flashback minigames show Purple Guy dismantling the animatronics from the security of the safe room one by one, but in doing so, he's unwittingly releasing the spirits of his former victims. Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, Golden Freddy. When their powers
cringe
they
time.
are able to scare Purple Guy into the Golden Bonnie spring-lock suit, which fails, crushes him pretty much to the point of death, though notice we never actually see him die, and the spirits fade away. Golden Bonnie, with Purple Guy inside, now known as Springtrap, rots away in the safe room for years until he's finally
shit's still
uncovered by the
fucking
founders of Fazbear's
it's
from
metal
the
as fuck.
third game. With the
Make a stream where you watch all the
discovery
videos from
Springtrap,
all
this
his 4
haunted house
channels. How long will it take you to
attraction,
finish?
inspired by the years of
Why?
murder of the
And we just
pizzeria
rewatch the
chain, finally
FNAF
has their
videos?
first real animatronic, who then haunts the player for 5 nights and a nightmare night until the place burns down due to faulty wiring. The end. Take a bow. It's finally over. Well, kinda.
Dum, dum,
We're still
dum.
left with one final, seemingly impossible question to answer. Who is the Purple Guy? After spending, I kid you not, full days plotting out all the details of this game franchise on whiteboards, talking it over with anyone who would stand and listen to me ramble on and on about fictional haunted robots, and just looking at it from every
Matt,
possible angle, all logic
18 million.
to it being...
Oh, cock. Come on. Boo! Oh, these were uploaded together. Huh. Still.
finally has their first real animatronic.
Why were they
for 5 nights?
multi-upload, but due to copyright strike currently on the channel, we can't upload video longer than 50 minutes. Is that a thing? That used to be a thing. Huh.
And a nightmare night.
That's
until
funny.
the place burns down due to faulty wiring. The end. Take a bow. It's finally over. Well, kinda. We're still left with one final, seemingly impossible answer. Who is
These
the
2 videos are one
guy?
video, by the way. That's why I'm like just
After
watching it in
spending,
one
I kid
go.
you not, full days plotting
Before
out
I,
all
like,
the details
take a
of
pause
this
and, like,
game
talk about it a
franchise
tiny
on
bit.
whiteboards, talking it over with anyone who would stand to listen to me ramble on and on about fictional haunted robots, and just looking
60
at it from
million in this case,
every
Matt Pat.
possible angle.
This is
all
May
logic points
2015.
to it
Damn.
being the phone guy. And no, not because I made a theory about it and refused to let it die. Honestly, I couldn't care less if that last video was wrong. At this point, I just care about the truth, and phone guy makes the most logical
At this point in
sense.
timeline,
I
it
know your
does.
complaints, and I promise you, if you stick with me, you'll be convinced. First, there's the circumstantial
The
evidence.
hell was that comment?
FNAF 2 theory. Phone Guy's admitted love of Foxy being reflected by the smiling purple guy sprite during the Foxy.
We're only at video 5? Oh boy, it will truly be a journey. Oh, how wrong he was.
Haunted by his
At this point, it made the most sense.
time and time
But
again
then,
trying to break
the other ones would come and make it worse and worse and
the
worse.
security guard, and even the weird phone-like object in his hand from the Save Them minigame. But there's even more evidence when we consider Five Nights 3. Consider this.
Fnoof.
He's the only person in the game who knows about the safe rooms. As we've mentioned before, all the safe rooms were sealed up back in the Springlock suit days, back in the first Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location, meaning every other employee coming afterward would have never even heard of these things. Phone Guy is the only character we meet who would have any knowledge of these rooms, and more importantly, of how they operate, how they're invisible to the cameras, and more importantly, importantly, to the animatronics. And that's just the beginning. He's also the only person who knows how to use the spring-lock suits. Again, once they were decommissioned, the suits were hidden away. Regardless of whether you believe that the killer used a golden Bonnie suit the whole time, or you think he used a golden Freddy suit, either way, we know for a fact the killer was using one of the yellow spring-locked suits, and Phone Guy is the only character we know who had knowledge of A, where they were hidden, and B, how they were operated safely. Now, I know a lot of people have said that it couldn't have been Phone Guy because he knew better. He knew that they were dangerous and could kill him, so if he was indeed the purple guy, he wouldn't just hop into a Springtrap suit like we see depicted at the ending of FNAF 3. But there's one key detail that everyone has been overlooking, and that Scott carefully included in this game. Listen. Hear it? There's rain. There are puddles on the ground. It's dripping from the ceiling. The killer had been using these spring-lock suits safely for years, but in his panic to escape the ghosts, he failed to notice the wetness of the building around him. The killer had never encountered this problem before because the building had always been in a decent state of repair, but now it's a wreck, torn apart by age. Rain is able to seep in, something he didn't realize when he was in such a hurry to run away from the ghosts. And if moist breath can loosen the locks, you can bet some rain would make those suckers ready to snap shut. And they do, killing our killer. I mean, all of that makes a pretty compelling argument, almost an open and shut case, if there wasn't one final major criticism to the Phone Guy theory since the release of FNAF 3. And it's a good one. The fact that Phone Guy seems to die during his Night 4 phone call from the first game.
Hey, listen, I may not be around to send you a message tomorrow. It's been a bad night here for me.
No speedrunning feels bad. Yeah, Scotty, we've yet to enter the hell of Tori. Yeah, I think it'll be
if Phone Guy was the killer, why would the robots still be
no problem.
active after his death
Take some
and
sustenance.
the ghosts disappear? It just wouldn't
I
make
get some
sense
cereal in a
unless
bit.
you stop to
Maybe after
consider
2 more
the
videos.
rest of FNAF 3's endings. The big twist in FNAF 3 is the inclusion of a good and bad ending. By completing the game normally, you get the bad ending, in which we see Purple Guy die in a flashback minigame, and the whole thing ends with 5 masks representing the 5 main animatronics with lights on behind their eyes. The good ending, meanwhile, requires using some not so subtly hidden clues to unlock minigames, then basically ignoring those games, glitching them out, and giving hidden dead kids cake to make them happy.
Ah,
obviously
yippee.
referring to
I
the
love
victims
that.
of Purple
Remember
Guy.
when games allowed you to give dead children cake by throwing it in their face?
Fewer animatronic mask
Great.
and no lights on. The obvious difference here is that in the good ending,
Hi,
the
dead
souls
kids.
of the dead
No,
children have been
no.
put at peace. When they
Ah!
they disappear for good. They don't go back to their animatronic bodies. But the bad ending? The lights on behind the eyes of all 5 masks mean that these guys are still active. Angry, restless spirits still haunting the robots to this day. Because here's the thing. The good ending doesn't exist until you, as the player of the 3rd installment, give cake to those kids during FNAF 3's hidden minigames. What you play in FNAF 1, though, is the aftermath of the bad ending, when the animatronics have killed Phone Guy but are still out for vengeance. Yeah, you made it through those first 5 nights at Freddy's. You overheard the death of the purple guy recorded live on the phone, but it wasn't enough. You got the bad ending. Even with the killer crippled in the back room in a spring-lock suit, the lights are still on in these animatronics. They're still roaming the halls, attacking anyone wearing that much-hated security guard outfit. People
makes the most
like
sense,
Mike
not gonna
Schmidt, an innocent guy just trying to do his job at a failing pizza restaurant. And as the final nail in the coffin, what Phone Guy says in his Night 4 recording perfectly foreshadows what we see in the games.
Maybe sometime you could check inside those suits in the back room. I'm gonna try to hold out until someone checks. Maybe it won't be so bad. Yeah, I always wondered what was in all those empty heads back there.
Think about what Purple Guy does. He hides in a back room, the safe room, hides in a suit, and despite getting sprung trapped, actually does hold out until someone checks. Holds out long enough for the phone dude to find the hidden safe room, recover the animatronic, and set him free in Fazbear Fright. Exactly what the phone guy said he'd do in his final moments. And as Springtrap, he comes back in FNAF 3. Comes back like he always does.
And he becomes
There's
British
no real
somewhere as well.
present
Somewhere
at Fazbear's
along the line.
Fright. Remember, Springtrap is the
I
only real
always
one they
come
found.
back
All the rest scattered,
somewhere.
probably located in dumps, which is why their bodies and faces are decaying. All that the spirits can do is appear as phantoms, hallucinations. Well, all except one. The puppet, who we see in his physical form roaming the hallways of Fazbear
Oh, that's
Fright.
spooky.
So real, in fact, that we see his reflection visible in the pools of water.
RTX graphics in the
He
third
is
game already
there
existed
and
in 2015.
unburnt. There's only one way to truly end this. End the murderous purple guy, burning the place to the ground. The puppet gave robots life, gave spirits peace, and finally gave the murderer, the phone guy, his long-deserved death. Or at least tried to. And that is the end of the Five Nights
That's
at
such a good
Freddy's story.
cliffhanger, by the way, with the
Hat,
spring
no movie,
trap thing.
no fourth installment.
What? Oh, no! 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 No!
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, what happened? What's wrong?
Look!
Honestly, same.
No.
But hey, that's just a theory. A game!
Game theory!
Thanks for watching. Hey, if you enjoyed these theories, show your appreciation by subscribing to the channel.
See, if he does the shilling, then I don't have to. Wait, let me put on the backtrack again. So we've now made it 5 videos in. Quick toilet break again. BRB. I'm back. Time to drink a little bit extra. British, indeed. So essentially now we're at the point where, so the third game happened, right? And this is, again, vaguely how I remember it from back in the day, right? The third game happened, this game theory eventually comes out. And it's like the best theory. Everything is open and kind of open and shut, right? And then that teaser... shut up. And that thing does happen at the end where it's like all of a sudden... Look at that. Solve the hold my beer laughs in 80 episodes, 14 games, or 30 books, and a new game on the way. Well, he's not that wrong. Why is the FNAF 2 theme such a vibe? The FNAF 2 theme is such a vibe, not gonna lie. The FNAF 2, let's be honest, in my opinion, FNAF 2 also has the most iconic music, right? The hallway, the main menu theme and stuff like that. Like, the second game seems to just kind of be the best one of them all. Except the loop is not that great, but because the video loop, so, you know, well, can't have everything, right? So, but no, a thing I always liked about the games up until this point, right, is that, like, they were just kind of open and shut cases at this moment. It's the next one that starts making it all fucky, right? Where the animatronics get like the nightmare versions, and they have all the teeth and the sharp pointy bits, and they just look so stupid. Up until this point, it's like they're kind of uncanny spooky, or like destroyed spooky, or because there's a literal corpse inside of them spooky. You know, that's all kind of spooky. The next one is like, oh, balls up the wall, Halloween, teeth and shit, and then from the next one onward, it all becomes the. I think the next one, if I can predict it somewhat, right, is when Dream Theory really gets pushed in hard, where it's like the whole, it was all the dreams in the mind of a kid, and it's like, everyone hated that. Literally, everyone hated that. That was just a terrible idea for it. No, not a terrible idea. It's more that, like, that theory leads itself to probably making the most sense. Like, logically sense. Like, oh, it's all a child, so you kind of get away with doing whatever. But it makes the consequences also... Like, nothing matters. If it's all just a dream, who the hell cares, right? Like, within the universe there that you're creating, it's such a inconsequential, boring answer to this fascinating little lore they've got building up, right? Like the puppet. Why is the puppet able to do stuff it does, right? Oh, it's just a dream. Oh, fuck off, right? That kind of shit. It's from the fourth one onwards, stuff starts to also get more complicated. Because up until this point, if you've noticed for FNAF, right? For how much shit FNAF gets, it's pretty open and shut. It's from the next one onwards, I think, also around the time that the fourth one released, the first book came out. With extra details there that got incorporated and stuff like that. So I wonder how much that's going to play out within the story and shit. Because I do remember that vaguely having some impact. Anyway, I guess we'll just continue with the next one, which is FNAF 4. I'm gonna also check the Discord out in a bit.
I'm tired of waiting for you. This time you'll have to keep up with me. Oh, never mind.
We're only an hour and a half in, boys. Oh, and half an hour in, and we're at the fourth game. Nice. We're speedrunning the FNAF.
Hello, internet. Welcome.
What did Freddy say to his girlfriend when he broke up with her? It's not you. It's me. Oh, that's bad.
Ahead of the game.
Ahead game.
That was the plan. Scott, I swear you are the biggest internet troll out there. Oh, it's being released October 31st. Okay, let me plan my entire schedule around that. Never mind, it's now in August. Okay, fine, let me rework everything. Lols. Here's the full version now. You, Scott Cawthon, are the reason I have an emotional dependence on Diet Coke. But today I'll be...
Screw you, I'm drinking regular cola, motherfucker.
Sweet, sweet victory. Because guess what? I win! Scott, in your rush to get the game out, to get out ahead of my theories and completely flim-flam the internet and shock everyone by releasing the game 3 months early, you missed a huge detail. Maybe before releasing the game, you should have spent a bit more time researching, because this game, as you've presented it, is impossible. Let me explain. Basically, it's all but confirmed at this point that in FNAF 4,
Before he
he
bit
plays
the
the
brain of his
victim of the
girlfriend,
bite
true.
of 87, and that this game is either his nightmare or what he's seeing in a coma as he recovers from his injuries. Let me run you through the evidence real quick so that we're all on the same page. First, in the months leading up to the release of the game, there were clues hidden in the source code for some of the teasers on
Oh yeah, that used to be a thing, by
with
the way.
numbers 8787 repeated over and over again. Two numbers that anyone who hasn't been living under a rock will recognize as a key date in the franchise's lore.
Lore!
87. This is further supported by the text on the teaser images. All of the pictures released on the site basically ask the same question: was it me? Which seems to refer to the actual attacker of the bite itself. But there was one more word we saw repeated throughout the teasers: nightmare. Hidden over top of multiple teasers.
Nightmare, 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 nightmare.
Exact word. That, combined with the Freddy Krueger-ish design of the animatronics, with teeth and claws everywhere, something far different from how we've seen these things designed in the past, seemed to indicate that this would be the way a child would imagine these creatures if he had had a traumatic experience with them, making it seem like what we would be playing would be a dream. Couple that with evidence from the trailer. The first words are, "What is it you think you see?" making us question the reality of the images in the game. But there was also something that...
Maybe the dream theory was the friends we made along the way, or just the
Scott doesn't do
the fourth game itself is like a
I'm sure
dream,
we're
you know?
all aware by now. And notice the movement of the 4. It starts off in a horizontal plane, like it was laying down on something, say a bed, but then wakes up to stand vertically.
That's also such a cool title reveal,
Even
I'll be
that
honest.
remnant red
That is really
rectangle is
good.
meant to symbolize the bed. Everything seems to be letting us know
A dream theory. Thanks for watching.
dream, or better
God damn
yet, a nightmare. Now,
Nightmare, nightmare, nightmare.
or I suppose casually meander to the game's release since it wasn't too long afterwards. And we see that this theory still holds. Flowers, an IV, and pills will occasionally show up next to your bed. Classical medical supplies that show us that this is a child in recovery. Foxy, who's hiding in a closet, will transform back to a plush toy if you hold the door closed on him long enough, making it seem like this was all a dream or hallucination. And of course, the biggest piece of evidence of all, the cutscene that ends Night 5, which, if you don't want a spoiler, click here to skip. All of you skipped now?
You've had 7 years.
Actually shows the bite of 87 take place in the mouth of the golden Fredbear.
Is that the bite of 87?
Quote-unquote boss of the game being
Let's
that
go.
same golden Fredbear, where in the final nights, he's the one who ends up stalking you. All the other animatronics disappear. You're being haunted by the suit that bit you. So yeah, that's it. All the evidence points to the victim of 87 being our protagonist, the character we're playing as in FNAF 4. Good job, Scott.
There we
You
go.
finally put together a game with a coherent plot line. Except you didn't. Scott Cawthon, if all of us are right in our theory, then you, sir, are wrong. Just when it looked like you were making a
Crying
game that
child.
adhered
No,
to
no,
its
no,
own
not crying
lore,
child.
You
Oh.
also made a game that is completely impossible from a scientific perspective.
From what?
Loyal theorists, it's time we give Scott's latest bag of tricks a little lesson in real-life science. While frontal lobe injuries aren't as uncommon as people think, actually they happen all the time in car accidents, playing football, falling down, etc., having your whole frontal lobe bitten off has a much more profound impact on mental and physical functions. It would come with a whole slew of symptoms from motor skill impairment to nervous system issues, but the side effects we're most concerned with today would all be psychological. Removal of the frontal lobe significantly impacts the victim's ability to process certain types of stimuli, specifically fear stimuli. Let me give you some backstory.
What?
In the good old 1940s,
It was a good theory. What the fuck are you all?
thought the best way to cure problems with the brain were to cut pieces out.
Ah.
Feeling depressed? Well, let's slice that out. Overly aggressive? That chunk probably wasn't important.
Yeah, the
As
1950s
there
were
are
such-
extremely well-documented
Oh my
studies
God.
of patients without frontal lobes.
Ah.
What's fascinating about them was what happened
God,
to their
old
fear response.
medical
Patients
shit
without
is like a
frontal
horror
lobe
movie
become
on its own.
uninhibited because they no longer have a fear response. Way back in my Fallout episode, we looked in depth at the most famous accidental lobotomy in history, Phineas Gage, who literally had an iron rod shot straight through his head, completely destroying his left frontal
The
lobe.
fuck?
One of the most striking differences between pre-pole Phineas and post-pole Phineas was his sense of inhibition. And by that I mean post-pole Phineas had none. He had no sense of caution, no sense of fear or self-consciousness. He was described to be impulsive to the point of being rude and vulgar in public. No fear, no anxiety, no social
But
pressure.
you're his brother.
Going
You're the
back
older
to
brother.
thing Scott does a great job of throughout the
Because
FNAF
illusion
you in
discs.
the eyes of Mike,
Ah.
Jeremy, or whoever. We feel invested in our protagonist because we
This is why I don't
want
to go to the
But
good
in
old
this
days.
case,
Indeed,
that's
there is no good old days.
impossible,
It's just all shit.
Specifically because
Now it's not perfect, but it's better than the old days.
character this game truly is little Timmy lost a lobe. He wouldn't wander around a house clicking a flashlight on and off. Why would he? He doesn't care because tragically he no longer has the capacity to care. His brain structure no longer allows
Well,
it.
but
As if
is it
this
that?
weren't
But is
enough,
it that
a
it got
frontal lobe
bitten
injury
off, or is
also
it that it got
with
damaged, like
concentration
injured? It got
attention
bitten.
span. The main character in the game is still supposed to be concentrated over a long
Oh,
period
although no,
of
I think Phone Guy
multiple
says it right. Like,
hours.
though,
But the
it's
thing
surprising
is,
what the brain could do without like a frontal lobe.
lobes don't have this ability. In fact, they can only stay focused on what they see immediately happening in front of them. A child missing a frontal lobe who repeatedly turned a flashlight on and off in a hallway without seeing anything would lose interest.
As you do in the game, you
Have
go back to
mental
the other
wiring
one.
necessary to concentrate on self-preservation. They would literally just go back to bed. The game is impossible the way it's being presented because it would literally be over.
This is
before
the
it
dumbest
began.
theory
The
so far.
final and biggest nail in the coffin for this one is how frontal lobe injuries affect the imagination. The frontal lobe controls a ton of mental processing abilities, including dreams. You might think that an uncontrolled uncontrollable imagination would lead to exactly the kind of nightmares or hallucinations you see in this game, but in fact, it's the exact opposite. Rigorous studies have been done on the imaginations and dream states of lobotomized patients. While patients without a frontal lobe can have dreams, one thing they can't have
What the hell is that?
nightmares. Patients
Oh.
missing a frontal lobe carry their lack of fear and inhibition straight into their dreams. And
Hey, yo.
it makes sense. If the mind is
The solution to the solution to anxiety. We just got to go to Five Nights at Freddy's.
Subconsciously in a dream. Studies show that lobotomized patients can dream about idyllic scenarios, money, fame, praise, but they can't dream about the monsters under the bed, or in this case, the foxy in the closet,
The
making
what?
the nightmare state of FNAF 4 impossible for the victim of the bite of 87. In fact, going back to the dark days of psychiatry, some patients who experience the kind of nightmare we see in FNAF 4 actually had their frontal lobes intentionally removed to stop these dreams from happening. One famous case describes a patient who was experiencing a
God.
recurring dream of being chased by ferocious animals. After the patient received the lobotomy in 1953,
yes. Game theory, making the case for why we should bring back lobotomy.
Instead, describe it as being a nice dream with some
Nice!
animals.
Ah!
The dream were no longer threatening. The animals were happy, he was happy, and he was no longer able to perceive any of the fear he once had prior to the surgery. So scientifically speaking, there is no single way the main character of FNAF 4 can be the bite of 87 victim, like Scott seems to have indicated.
Lord.
Sure, the game could be about another kid, I guess, but that would
Any
be
updates
lame.
on the-
No, this game is meant to be about the victim of the bite of 87, the poor kid who wasn't just attacked at the restaurant, but continues to be tortured through nightmarish visions, dreams, coma-induced hallucinations, whatever. I have zero doubt that that's what Scott intended, but the fact of the matter is, he just didn't do enough homework. A kid with those sorts of injuries wouldn't care about those things in the first place.
Bite of 87.
Fear, and there would be no animatronics, real or imaginary, that would be able to keep him up at night. Biologically speaking, nothing he would be experiencing would be any scarier than the fan.
I'll make a tweet.
Fan. Sorry, Scott.
We already
Better
made
luck
it.
in the movie. But hey,
Ah!
just a theory. A game
Game theory!
Thanks for watching. So that's the science of FNAF 4, but I'm
Oh, Dr. Insane. God. Oh, God. Explain who that is. That's the Spoony one. The Spoony one was this content creator similar to Nostalgia Critic, who was similar to AVGN, would make videos on like movies and old retro shit from the 80s and 90s, right? And he had like this side character he would wear those like spiral glasses and shit, and it was like an insane doctor. Ooh! And the 2010s were wild, okay? It was an intentionally cringy bit, but it was kind of funny, you know, in its own way. It's just funny to see that all of a sudden show up here. Anyway, like, this is the stupidest game theory so far. I'm not gonna lie. And this sets the bar for, like, how much more stupid shit we're gonna be getting for FNAF 4. Oh, it can't work because lobotomy? Sure, but like really, this is a nothing burger of a theory in my opinion, very much. If anything, the first half of it where it just kind of explains like, yeah, it kind of just neatly fits in with all the rest, like sure, because we didn't start overcomplicating where it's like, oh no, but the TV says 83, so it has to be the bite of 83, even though. Not necessarily. It could still be 87. Like, who knows? Maybe Freddy's, you know, has a few years of actually functioning and being open without murders before stuff goes wrong. Yeah. Especially because the game always teased with 87, so I always assumed, like, yeah, no, it must be 87. All the other stuff is just, just adding for no reason, right? 6 is in, going strong. That's what we're adding for Twitter. fnaf and vtuber must be tagged. Where were
I'm
we?
working on picking apart the there's gotta be a
Oh yeah, the fucking box. Oh god damn it.
new text? I must be close. Incident of 83. 1 movie. 11 animatronics. 11 kids. 1 phone guy. 1 killer. Hex code for purple backwards.
Uh-oh.
Is that Markiplier?
Yes, Matt.
What?
It was
What the hell is happening?
me the whole time, and that's no theory.
No game theory. Let's go! Oh, it's the glitchy version. I don't get to like hype dance with it. It feels bad. Lol. No. It was me, Matt. No way, I can't do it.
Hello, Internet!
To hydrate my
Welcome
throat.
to the Five Nights at Freddy's podcast. Sorry, I mean Game Theory. Game Theory! The show that covers theories on other games in the 2-week intervals between new installments of FNAF. But if I'm ever gonna see requests for games other than FNAF 4 in my Twitter feed, this video needed to be made. Because, I have a confession, Internet, I made a mistake in my last FNAF video. Not in my research, mind you. My conclusion that this kid scientifically could not be the Bite of 87 victim was actually 100% right, both
Yeah, sure.
scientifically and,
Boring.
as you've been eager to point out, lore-wise. Now,
Lore!
I'm wrong in calling this the Bite of 87.
Ugh.
I'm man enough to admit my mistakes. Hey, it's why they're called theories after all, right? Anyway, in this case, Scott was sure to let me know my error in his first comment on any of my videos on the franchise to my knowledge, which was really exciting, but it did leave me wondering, should I feel honored or trolled? And let me just say, because you were asking, I didn't delete that comment. I only delete comments from game theorist bots. No, I don't want your free PSN codes, okay? So I guess Scott must have deleted it himself. Maybe there was a typo. Or maybe a clue to FNAF 5. But before we get that far ahead, let's close the book on FNAF 4. First, let's set the record straight on where it takes place. It does not take place in Fredbear Family Diner, but rather the first location of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, the one from the old Phone Guy tapes found in FNAF 3. But the Springlock yellow suits are the only ones there, I hear you typing. And you're right, they obviously are. But remember, Phone Guy's tapes in FNAF 3 welcome you to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, not Fredbear Diner, before he tells you about their, quote, specially designed suits. Roll that cassette tape.
Welcome to your new career as a performer/entertainer for Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Right now we have 2 specially designed suits that double as both.
I still think the whole 83 thing is stupid, by the way. It should just be 1 byte, especially because the promotional, like, source code shit was also teasing 87. What's with the whole 83 thing? It's so dumb.
There were, quote, multiple simultaneous Springlock failures.
I get it,
What
but
do we see at the end of FNAF 4? An incident
just
where
redundant,
multiple
that's all.
Springlocks fail simultaneously, and a child dies. And let me be clear, because the terminology is pretty confusing. In the game, the word Springlock is used to describe both the suit as a whole and the individual locking mechanisms within that suit. A Springlock suit is made up of multiple spring locks.
Isn't
To have
83
multiple
Mangle?
simultaneous
No.
failures
This is the
like
thing, right? So the theory then goes that 83 is
down at the same
Fredbear
time, which
and
is
87 is Mangle. Or
that multiple locks
supposedly
within
Mangle.
the same suit collapse at the same time, causing a catastrophic failure. Say, for instance, because a child is squirming to escape and his tears are moistening the locks. Crunch. And besides, don't you think it'd be weird for Fredbear's Diner to use these suits, have them kill a child, sell the company, and then Freddy Fazbear's Pizza starts using them again?
Yes!
Wouldn't make a lot
This
of
time
sense.
with dead child pieces in the
Although
teeth.
Fredbear and Springtrap are the featured attractions at this restaurant, this is a Freddy Fazbear brand.
Yes, Chris, they are fragging scary. They
back
are.
to, as we see on the TV set, 1983. But enough about the timeline. I don't want to dwell on it in this episode.
Don't you?
Having a general placement of the timeline is enough because the most interesting part of this game is the ending and its overall meaning. Like I said in the other
Remember when this game was just about haunted ghost kids?
got bit, that would be really lame. So how does this particular kid fit into the overall lore? Why is this incident of 1983 so important to show? Who is the FNAF 4 kid, and what does the ending line of "I will put you back together" mean? Well, let me tell ya, the evidence points to him being the puppet. Let's look at the evidence. First, many have pointed out the streaming tears down the puppet's face, which mimic the tears down the puppet's mask. Okay, sure, that was good evidence when we first saw them in FNAF 2, but at this point, those nice pixelated streams are on nearly every chubby-cheeked kid who's ever entered these restaurants. So alone, it's not much to go on. But we can take it one step further. While the tears themselves might not be interesting, look at this. It's a screen from the Mangle minigame back in FNAF 3. This weird, crying, giant silhouette was just kinda out of place in the last game. And all us FNAF theorists just
Gilbert wanted her voice, Mr. Sleepy. Not sleepy, we're just paying attention for now.
What is it? I mean, it kinda looks
Awake,
like a
welcome,
puppet,
Kay.
right? With its overall fabric feel and its thin striped legs. I mean, that's what I thought at the time, but again, there was really no reason to bring it up since it just didn't fit anywhere. But now we have a new game and new information that might make this make sense.
Psychic friend
Look at its
Fredbear.
body.
No,
It's
no, that is
amount of
true.
the position we see our FNAF 4 kid in a lot throughout the game, including his final scene, kneeling down, 2 streaming tear tracks, and his face turned 2/3 toward the camera. Do you see the connection here? But not only that, look at what our kid wears, a black and gray striped shirt. And remember, this is in a world where all the other kids are generally wearing single color outfits.
Fine. It's a good detail, but it's still stupid that he would be the puppet, because we know who the puppet is.
Then black and white stripes.
But we know who the puppet is, Matt.
Consider
This is
that
a
there's
stupid
no
theory.
sign of the puppet anywhere in this game,
Fuck's
and
sake.
yet practically every other animatronic is present in some form, meaning that this game likely exists at a time when the puppet has yet to be created. Remember when he just kind of showed up in FNAF 2, which I should remind you takes place 4 years later than this game? He just kind of came out of nowhere. Well, this could be the puppet's origin story. This idea of kid as puppet also works really well with the locked box at the end. What's in there besides Markiplier's stunning face and buttery voice? A puppet. As we see in FNAF 2, he has a habit of coming out of boxes, and he's the only one who can bend and fold up into a space that small. But there's even more evidence when you look at the
I'm Tori's
timeline.
psychic
Now,
friend,
I
K-Bear.
challenge you to ask
No.
yourself one
No,
question.
K, no.
What exactly is the child afraid of in this game? Why does he hate this restaurant so much? The
Because
easy
it's
answer
doo-doo.
would seem to be the animatronics, but that'd be wrong. It's important to note that at the time of the cutscene minigames, he's
Rewatching this in 2020 feels weird.
Bonnie and Chica.
Bro,
When you walk
same.
over the pile of plushies in the corner,
POV
you see that he
2023, we've been
considers
watching all
these
the in
characters
order for
as his
nostalgia.
friends. Foxy is kinda in that camp too, but to a slightly lesser degree because his brother has started scaring him with the Foxy mask, hence the head being pulled off. Even the weird psychic friend
is that what that's
Fredbear
supposed to
isn't
be?
a scary presence for him. So clearly he's not scared of the characters. Is he scared of the people working at the restaurant? The purple guy? Maybe, but that's not quite the full answer either. Again, watch how he behaves. When trying to escape the worker in the Fredbear outfit, he can't muster the courage to run past the show stage with the yellow suits. He collapses in fear. And when the bullies drag him over to the stage, he's freaking out. Clearly, what he is
That scene is
specifically
still fucked
afraid
up,
of
actually.
in this restaurant is the yellow Springtrap suits, whether in animatronic mode or suit mode, which begs one question.
With the little eyes sticking out, it is kind of spooky.
Well, the answer lies in psychic friend Fredbear. Look at the dialogue running through the kid's head. Hurry the other way and find someone who will help. You know what happens if he catches you. That line would be easy to write off as this just being a scared kid who believes the ghost stories he's heard from the dead-eyed girl he talks to on the way home. She's creepy. If it wasn't for one thing, this other line. No. Don't you remember what you saw? This kid actually saw something, a crime, something terrible in these restaurants. It would seem to imply that he saw another child get shoved into one of these suits. This would also explain the strange brown pixels sticking out of the yellow body backstage. A tuft of hair, perhaps? All of these details also fit with the character I've been lovingly calling Psychic Friend Fredbear. He's here, he's there, he's everywhere. Psychic Friend Fredbear. I mean,
Kill me.
seriously, what is this thing? Sometimes he's a bear, sometimes he's referencing it, and sometimes he's a flower? Okay. At first, it seemed like the
Honest to
creepy
God,
little
it's
toy was
hallucinations.
nothing but an imaginary friend
That's my
that
theory.
was
The kid hallucinates the bear.
moments after the bite,
Until,
when
like,
we
it's
see
his
the bear's
location, you see it
signature yellow
actually does
text.
exist.
But this time, instead of parroting back the kid's feelings like he usually does, he shows that he is clearly in possession of a mind of his own, saying all kinds of creepy things like, "You're broken. We're still your friends. Don't you believe that? And I'm still here. I will put you back together." This isn't
Yay,
just
second
a
friend
split
Fredbear.
person
No!
kid or anything. This is a separate entity. This is a spirit. This is someone who knows the danger of getting caught by the people wearing those suits. This is the victim that our FNAF 4 kid saw getting stuffed. This is Golden Freddy, Purple Guy's victim. And I know you're rushing into
That's
comments
not a
about this change
bad
a lot of
idea,
things
actually,
against stuff we've
narratively
been saying
speaking.
for a while. But don't worry,
It is
we're really
interesting,
just
but
get excited. We've pinpointed the identities of our two most mysterious animatronics.
Oh.
This is an awesome revelation from an evidence standpoint, but to be honest, it's a little disappointing from a storytelling standpoint. Here's why. We humans all have a proven psychological need to complete things. This need is
oh,
called
Forgotten It was an old
unimaginatively
movie.
the completion
True,
principle.
true. The old original with Tim
Put the
Curry.
and the stuff around
Just funny
us
as
so that
fuck
the
because
world
like he's the only good part of
ends
that
and
movie,
we
right?
feel
But like
in
TV
control. It's the
series,
biggest
like 2 episodes, I
psychological
think.
reason why you want to beat a game,
Like a TV
or
movie.
even just an individual level. You know how you just can't stop and save in the middle of a level? You have to play until it's done. This is the reason why. Weirdly
Well,
enough, it's
we
even
don't. We
the
know I
reason
don't
why
have
it's so
that
hard to
because
eat
I'll
just one
I'll
slice of
stop
cake.
streams
Sometimes
right at the
deliciousness, or leave out the
beginning.
last two
Actually, that's
pieces
not
of a
true.
puzzle. I mean, even just looking at
It
it on the
depends.
screen, Earl just put the piece in. Just finish the last two. Just animate the pieces to move over into the open slots, and I beg you, just finish the last. Thank you. This isn't just you being OMG, I'm so OCD. It's actually because the brain is
What?
wired to respond to knowing when you're done with a task.
What
The
are
brain
these
can now take the
memes?
mental energy it was using to focus on that activity and use it on something else. But what happens if you don't finish that piece of cake? Or if you walk away from a game right before beating the level? Your brain can't put that activity away because it's still not finished. You literally continue to spend mental energy on it in the background, even when you're
Oh,
doing
so it's like
other
a
things.
so it's like an
As
alt
long
tab
as
on the
there are
Google.
unknowns, your brain can't feel in total control and can't let things go. And whether he knew this when creating the first FNAF game or not, Scott Cawthon has done an amazing and infuriating job of creating a story that looks like it goes one way, but also looks like it might go somewhere else. This keeps us thinking about FNAF lore, talking about FNAF lore, pestering our favorite YouTube theorists.
Oh, so now we're going meta. Now we're just talking about yeah.
Months. Watching every video released on everything from top 10 details you missed in the FNAF 4 teaser to top 10 facts about the cupcake. The cupcake!
Really?
10 facts about the cupcake. Seriously, once we're into the lore,
Yeah, I'm making the wrong kind of content, not gonna lie. I should be making top 10 facts about Freddy's thick ass. It's like some kind of weird shit. We're top number 1. If you watched any kind of Five Nights at Freddy thing, you are furry. And it's like that kind of shit. It's just, I should make that kind of content. Why am I not making that?
So
Too
we
bad.
want the pieces of the puzzle to fit together cleanly, and the
What the
problem with
fuck?
FNAF is that while there's plenty of evidence for the story to go one way, there's also evidence for it going somewhere else.
Oh, maybe that size.
There's a lot of evidence for the kid in FNAF 4 being the puppet, and I'd bet my bottom dollar that that's the solution that Scott intended. From a storytelling standpoint, more pieces actually fit together if the FNAF 4 kid becomes Golden Freddy and not the puppet. This would make our first victim, the one our FNAF 4 kid sees get killed, the puppet, like we've been hypothesizing since FNAF 2.
The one we get a
Suddenly,
literal cutscene for.
celebrating a birthday, one kid associated with each animatronic, with the one representing Golden Freddy.
You're wrong
being the
again.
odd man
This one
out.
is more in the right
Scenario
direction.
Perfectly mimics the FNAF 3
Right? Like
good
this.
ending
Like
that
this one is more
where 5
in
souls
line
from
with the
5
rest of like
kids,
this
each
part.
representing a
This
different
this like
animatronic.
alternate theory is more right than the one he was suggesting
Never
before.
really happened. It actually creates
Like top
story.
top 10 facts about Kratos' PP and women he laid down with. Lamau.
Don't get me started about the size of the kid.
Will Atreus have a
There
brother
are
in the
dead
next game?
Children in
Ah.
mini game, okay? Literalizing the sizes seems to be
Goldie is more
It
correct,
goes
yeah.
even further than that.
No, true.
In the FNAF 2 Give Gifts minigame, the puppet gives life to the dead children, with Golden Freddy as the odd man out who doesn't get a mask and does a ghostly jump scare at the end. That would reflect the 4 bullies getting killed in the pizzeria by Purple Guy in response to this incident, while the one, Golden Freddy,
What?
dies somewhere else, like a hospital bed. I mean, we do see the IV and pills and flowers, and as a result, that's why the puppet, the first
Honestly,
victim,
that also isn't. He just says one line there, right? But but the theory of like the other kids being killed that would be the bullies of that incident would be somewhat interesting, but
represents the first victim at the
too bad they
first
never went
location,
with that.
and why the puppet is always the jump scare, because he's the kid we just watched get killed.
Yeah, that's
So
the easy
a lot
one,
of
Matt.
Storytelling pieces fit together, but at the end of the day, that leaves us with too many questions about why Golden Freddy is talking to our FNAF 4 kid. A spirit
Because he's
inhabiting that bear for the
oh,
story to make
walkie-talkie.
sense. And Scott
You don't know it yet because it's
certainly
only in the
evidence
next
that
game you
leads us
get that
to
info.
believe The FNAF 4 kid is the puppet. The FNAF 4 kid needs to have seen a tragic
Psychic
scary
friend
incident to
Fredbear.
make him
What did I
feel
miss?
restaurant means he can't have been
Psychic
the
friend
first kid
Fredbear.
to
Me
be
talking about
killed.
Kratos'
Short
PP and how if you
here
watch
that you
FNAF, you're a furry and someday Fredbear's thick ass. I don't know,
The
something.
story is more satisfying for him to become Golden Freddy, and either side leaves you
It would,
wanting
man. We've come so
more,
far from
because
these
not
old
all
theories.
the evidence
It's true, but
works in
parts.
either scenario, and that is the true secret to FNAF.
It will never be solved.
Demands that we get answers, that the scraps of evidence across the 4 games come together.
Well, he's not lying. I mean,
If
look.
and when they do, our brains will just be able to move on and forget about it, making it just another game that we played and is collecting dust on our shelf, or taking up memory space in our Steam account, I guess. In the meantime, good on Scott for making sure FNAF is always on our minds. He didn't do
Lol.
it by giving us endless levels or a whole bunch of stuff to complete. He did it just
Hey, yo,
by
what?
making sure
What
the
was that
pieces
image?
that are there are never quite enough. So GG, Scott. GG. And GG to all of you too, theorists. All of us. For trying
The
to
fact I
complete
used to
the
think Purple
story
Guy
and
was the phone
solve
guy.
the
I
mystery.
still
I
find
know
that
it's
theory
hard,
makes the
but
most sense
honestly,
to a certain
I've been
extent.
having a blast.
It's only when they started
playing
actually,
video
like,
games.
giving them
It's
voices
been
where it
my
became
honor
all
to
weird.
work with all of you on this quest over the last year, and I look forward to trying to continue the quest in the year to come. In fact, since this has been a video many of you have been waiting for a long
Oh, yeah.
time, now that it's finally
That's
out
the
this
funny thing.
Thursday at 4 o'clock
What-
p.m.
what the
Pacific
hell?
time, I'll be live streaming right here.
Nope, I'm not watching those, Matt Pat. You can suck my ass for those. I'm not watching that. So this is like the first 7, right? Come to mind, if I believe correctly, right? The first 7 videos here were made in like within like the span of 1 year. The first 4 games released so close together that essentially the amount of FNAF content you were able to get was like so. It was like a constant update with constant content coming out, which just led to like a different way the time felt then, right? To put it this way, right? Now FNAF is really being carried hard by its just legacy status as like a influential franchise, and because no franchise has been able to mirror the amount of content it put out to really captivate enough mind space as it has. Think about it: 4 games released within like the span of 1-ish year, all captivating an audience so long that even like 7 years after, we can wait after like a year and a half of the shittiest game they ever released coming out. And outside of speculation of what the hell is even supposed to be happening in that game, we're still eagerly awaiting a DLC that might or might not make the games actually scary, which they haven't been for a while, right? Again, the first game might have been the scariest in that fact, and the rest of it has been interesting, but not that tense anymore. The 4th game mechanically might be the scariest technically, because you have to like listen for audio, so it's not like you could just talk over everything. You have to like be quiet and listen to the darkness and maybe or maybe not use your flashlight. Like that tension there, I think is maybe one of the best mechanics they've actually added. They've added over the years. Not that I don't like it, but like from an analytical perspective, it's a good technique, right? Yeah, and then from now on, I think now we're gonna slowly start getting into FNAF 5, which is sister location, where if FNAF 4 made the story weird, then from FNAF sister location and probably the books by that point coming together and stuff like that, it all becomes even more crazy and weird and stuff like that. And from then, we really start diving into the rabbit hole that never fucking ends, right? Never-ending rabbit hole. Hello, are you there? Is this from YouTube? Yes, no, we're the TikTok chat. Yeah, so we're live on YouTube and TikTok and Twitch, where I'm doing the endurance stream. We've been live now for like 2 hours. Yeah, wow, on the clock, 2 hours. Where we're watching all the game theory videos, basically doing a big retrospective sort of on it, and just going through it, thoughts, that kind of crap, reacting, seeing how long I can stay sane, all that crap. You should watch an undeniably canon Five Nights at Freddy's timeline as well. 2 hours? Is that a 2-hour video? No, we've been live for 2 hours. SCP, how long is that video? Because, we're first doing this. Maybe that could be something for another time, right? But, like, we'll have to see. I'm gonna do one thing though. I am gonna go get that cereal I said I was gonna get because I think that would be good for me. So, wait, let me bring up the look at this. Look at this. Ah! It's the BRB. The BRB button's back. No, so I get to add that basically to give it like these two parts are so far, but it's so fun, way fun to look at. There's 2 parts so far, but it's a fun way to look at it all. Wait, so that's like a new videos that are releasing nowadays. Ooh, that could be interesting as well. Not gonna lie, there's a lot of good FNAF theory channels nowadays. FNAF or the guy with the long hair. I like him too. Like a lot of them have like some good things coming out, but you know they're not as, would you put it? They're good videos and they're good like podcast type videos you put on in the background, but game theory is still like the most edited content, longest kind of doing this thing. So therefore, watching these videos in sequential order at least poses an interesting challenge. Whilst the rest would be more of like you would make react videos to it, kind of, right? Or like either you take segments of it, you edit it down so you can then go over it or whatever. Yeah, keep it on that screen. So we're at 8 of 50. 50 more videos to go, people! I guess we're making progress. Give me a second to first go get my, whatchamacallit? I'm gonna get some cereal. That'll be fun. And then you'll get, like, food ASMR. Oh, no, I'll try to put the mic a little bit away from my face so you won't get the crunching and stuff like that, right? Well, I'm gonna mute myself for a minute. Be right back. Boop, I'm back. Give me a sec to. Ha 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 ha. How am I gonna do in this next one? Either watch. Well, I'm mainly quiet when I'm watching the videos anyway, so more like the react content seems to come afterwards, not really during it somehow. Let's wait, put that away. I'm back. Okay, so where was I with my explanation? Food theory, yeah. So now it's now it's also an ASMR stream. Just kidding, just kidding. I'll put up the next one, I guess. Yeah.
Today, we end the horror. Today, we solve FNAF.
Nope, still have 50 more fucking videos, guy. This train ride never ends. Did the puppet just dance there? That's the most scary thing I've seen all so far. Wow. Hey, what's up? Yeah, oh, Jesus Christ. The puppet moving is uncanny,
Hello,
not gonna lie.
Internet. Welcome to
Game Theory!
After months of
50 more videos! Let's go!
the
51
original
technically
FNAF
with this one included.
tetralogy to
Let me just eat a little bit of
rest.
cereal.
It's done. No more Halloween updates, no more FNAF 5 rumors, and no more fan. Suck on that, you
Why would it end?
propeller of air. So shortly after my last Freddy theory,
I'll mute myself
I
when I'm
arranged a
eating,
live
okay?
stream with some
So you don't
fellow
have to
FNAFers
have
to
the crunch
close
when
the book
when
on
I'm
the
doing a thing.
series. And what happened was something that none of us expected.
Today we solved the lore. Proceeds to make 50 more videos, indeed.
Stream issues, Scott started talking to us. Well, kinda. He kept updating his site, scottgames.com, with cryptic messages as to the true meaning of the game. What is seen in shadows is easily misunderstood in the mind of a child. In the FNAF 4 minigame, why would the tiny toy Chica be missing her beak? And finally, 4 games, 1 story. It was incredible! After a year
Dream
of taking
theory is the
shots in
worst
dark,
theory.
finally we were,
Boo.
in a way, hearing
Boo.
back from the man who
Boo.
knew all the answers. Scott Cawthon, the creator, was reaching
Back
out
to
from
being
the
muted,
shadows to give
so I
us,
can
for
crunch
pretty
away.
much the first time ever, concrete leads as to where to look. But what did these cryptic clues mean? In the moment, the best I could do was this.
Is it possible that FNAF 2 didn't actually happen?
But in the days that followed, those 3 clues led theorists on Reddit, Steam, and YouTube to completely throw out everything that they knew about the franchise. What if we were looking at the franchise all wrong? Instead of counting animatronic toes, calculating minimum wage rates, and tracking Purple Guy's work history, maybe we needed to take a step back. What if everything in FNAF was just a dream?
Whoa!
That's right,
Whoa!
a FNAF dream theory. That
Worst
everything
theory!
we through in these games was created in the mind of the FNAF 4's crying
Boo!
child. It sounds like
Boring.
a cop-out, right? Like a lazy storytelling cliche.
It is.
But stay with me. Even if you think you've heard parts of this theory before, you'll
Although I don't know if
stick
their
around.
sequels
I've
were
unearthed
that
the
much
clues
better.
That finally put our year and a half of FNAF speculating to rest. Of the 3 clues Scott gave us that day, the most damning incoming one was the last one. Why would tiny toy Chica be missing her beak? What? In the FNAF 4 minigame, you can talk to a small girl on the playground with toy versions of Bonnie, Freddy, and Chica, but her beak is missing? During the stream, we were all like, Scott, please. But when we looked, sure enough, there it was. A few orange pixels laying on the ground. What? Seriously? This was the crucial detail all of us had missed.
Everyone
And
hates
yet,
that FNAF
for as
Dream Theory.
absurd as it may
Indeed.
sound, those
It's like all my
5
friends hated
pixels
this.
changed everything, upending
Oh.
a year worth of theorizing, because that missing beak directly parallels FNAF 2's new version of Chica, who loses her beak when she goes on the attack. It was something we all had written off as a graphical glitch or a design choice, not as a clue to the meaning of the entire series, and yet here it was from the creator's mouth. And that is when it started to click. FNAF 2's shiny new animatronics. What are they called? Toy animatronics. And that's not just a cute name the community came up with, like Freddles. It's right there in the custom night menu. It's canon. That's a strange name for a bunch of robots, right? Unless it's meant to be taken literally, and then they're all just a bunch of oh my god. What if they are toys? And this is all just a dream scenario inspired by
Worst
these
theory.
little guys. Well, let's keep going with this toy clue. I mean, obviously, the toy animatronics are shiny, plastic-looking fake, just like a small
Although more than
plastic
likely,
action figure would
when
be.
FNAF
But it
4 came
explains
out,
a
they
bigger
were meant to
question
be,
about
like,
FNAF
more
2.
than likely,
Look
FNAF
and
4
design
Dream
of
Theory
the
was
angle. I
canon.
mean, seriously, the story
And then
we're
with
told
sister
to believe
location,
in
it
this
became
game is
back to
pretty
being weird and
absurd.
shit.
That kids just rip it apart
I
and
imagine.
put it back together again, and so the employees just leave it as a mangled collection of parts for small children to play with. What parent would ever be comfortable letting little Timmy touch that thing? Oh, and here's a cute thing for you to play with. Oh my gosh! Who could have seen that coming? But if we assume FNAF 2 is in the mind of a child who has seen all these toys, Mangle makes a whole lot more sense. He's just a dismantled toy. Think about Sid from Toy Story, who fuses various toys together to create hideous abominations. This explains Mangle's 2 heads. I don't care how much you redesign Foxy, no one planned him to have 2 heads. In fact, note that Mangle appears in a girl's room. An insignificant detail? I don't think so. The Chica Beak shows that this girl's toys fall apart, just like Mangle, the tear apart, put back together toy. And toys explain FNAF 1 too. The crying child of FNAF 4 has 4 plushies in his room. The crew from FNAF 1. Plushies, as in soft, stuffed animals. What are the original 4 animatronics made out of? Soft materials. Fur and fabric, not plastic like the toys. So much so that the one thing that we hear about them throughout the series is that these old animatronics collect odors and never get washed, just like an overused and overloved stuffed animal.
Wait,
but the
this
parallels
is on
don't
them?
stop
What the hell?
there. Why is
That's
Foxy
disgusting.
out of order in FNAF 1? Well, the plushie he's based on is missing its head. How about Foxy's jump scare popping in abruptly from behind a wall? It's awfully similar to the way the brother scares the crying child throughout FNAF 4
the
in
annoying
his Foxy mask.
The annoying thing
no
is that this
less.
theory
How does
makes the
Golden
most
Freddy
sense.
fit into this?
Like it does,
Well, in
right?
the
Like
FNAF
like
4
he
Easter egg
makes
you see on
it
the
all
TV
makes
that
sense.
show Fredbear and
I just
Fred
don't like it.
features the
That's the thing.
Fredbear alongside the core 4 of Foxy, Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica. That's your cast from the first game. The dream of FNAF 1 was inspired by this show and the plushies, hence it not containing any of the other animatronics. Even the fact that the child doesn't have a golden Freddy plush, and that instead he has his imaginary friend, a psychic friend Fredbear, who appears and disappears at will, directly references Golden Freddy's ghostly behavior in FNAF 1 and 2. In fact, every game, design detail, and animatronic can be explained under this theory. The recurring elements of the phone and the fan, right there from some of his favorite toys. The fact that no one in their right mind would work in a place like this? Dream. Firing an employee for something like odor? It's a child's imagination of what employment is like. How about the weird metaphysical hoops that you have to jump through to access FNAF 3's minigames? Well, dreams have weird rules where dialing codes into cinder blocks makes perfect sense. FNAF 3's Springtrap is directly inspired by the girl in her golden body finger puppet that pinches and traps her finger. The idea that the animatronics stuff you into suits comes from this girl spreading the urban legend that if you die, they hide your body and never tell. The naked endoskeletons come from his time trapped in the supply room. Balloon Boy is the dream version of this kid, excited to go to the birthday party. They even have a single balloon each. Even the oddballs of Shadow Freddy and Shadow Bonnie fit under this theory. They're the product of the crying child being freaked out by the shadows that Golden Freddy and Bonnie cast onto the wall. And while we're on the subject of shadows, Dream Theory even rolls up the purple guy. Let's pull in Scott's second clue. What is seen in shadows is easily misunderstood in the mind of a child. Yes, he could be referencing the shadow animatronics, which are literal shadows, but what he's more likely referencing is purple guy helping a fellow employee put on the yellow suit. They're in a dark, shadowy room, and what the kid sees, or what he thinks he sees, is someone getting violently stuffed into a suit when it's just a mascot putting on its head. Think about how traumatic it'd be if you were a kid and you were at Disneyland and then saw Mickey Mouse suddenly take off its head. It would blow your mind. But we all know that there's no murder happening. It's just employees going about the daily grind.
Well,
in fact, that's why Purple
another
Guy
kind of murder.
is
Murder of
purple.
the soul.
Atari
Not
style
Pat.
games
Murder of the soul.
not with black, but with purple, as indicated by the shadows cast by the animatronics on stage. That's why Shadow Freddy, Shadow Bonnie, and even the innocent employee in the dark back room, the shadowy purple guy, are such an unusual color. Still skeptical? So was I. Sure, it answers a lot and smooths out the timeline, but there was still one piece of the puzzle that was missing. One thing that was nagging me. It still felt like a convenient explanation, but not an intentional one. Not something that Scott had planned for the series. All I needed was just that one detail that made everything fit together. But then, while writing this script, it finally dawned on me. The nail in the coffin. The one piece of evidence that no one can deny and that, to my knowledge, no one has talked about in the months of theorizing. The detail that convinced me this theory has to be true. Are you ready to have your mind blown? Listen to the sound that you hear at the end of every night of the first 3 games. A grandfather clock chiming the same song every time. Why would the end of my shift in an office be signaled by a grandfather clock chime? It
Because this is a goofy game.
Unless I was asleep, dreaming in my house with a grandfather clock right outside my room.
Oh,
The
not
layout
the
of
grandfather
Clock
cock.
House, FNAF 4 minigames.
Oh,
6
okay.
o'clock
I
AM,
finished my
time to
cereal.
Get up. But
We're
now
back.
Let's look at FNAF 4. How does each night end there?
Beep,
A beeping
beep,
alarm
beep.
clock. Why? Because we're no longer in the crying child's house. We're in a hospital, trying to recover from being bitten. Hence the pills, IV, and flower
Bruh, sleeping in a
Easter
hospital
eggs.
sucks
No
ass.
hospital has a
much
grandfather
experience with that,
clock,
but it,
they're
like,
all equipped
ah.
with a generic digital alarm clock. This, to me, was the missing link. The piece of evidence that took
Really?
this theory from
That's it?
convenient explanation for
Oh.
a lot of the game's weirdness
Oh.
to definitive proof that this is what
This is
Scott
what Scott
intended. My
intended.
heart is racing right now.
Ah.
I'm so excited about sharing this with you. It feels like finding the Rosetta Stone, the one detail that unlocks everything else in this huge mystery we've been trying to solve. But at the same time, it's bittersweet, right? Remember what I said at the beginning of the episode? It sounds like a cop-out, right? Like a
Yes.
lazy storytelling cliche. How many of you agreed with that? If you're honest with yourself, I bet a lot of you. You'll notice across my videos I don't cover dream and coma theories very often for exactly that reason. They're too easy, too flexible. Because it's all a dream, weird stuff can be written off, logical errors overlooked simply because it's not actually real. In the theory world, they're OP. They're hard to argue against and can be molded to fit any random collection of
It's
details.
just a game,
And for
bro.
a game like FNAF, where us theorists have spent thousands of hours combing through all the details, making and remaking timelines, bending over backwards to make every last piece of information fit together across the 4 games, "it was just a dream" reveal invalidates all of that work. It says that none of it really mattered since none of it really happened, and Scott knows this. Let's look at a quote from Scott in his update on Steam regarding the Halloween DLC for FNAF 4. Quote, "The story remains
yeah.
completely hidden. I guess most people assume that I filled the game with random Easter eggs this time. I didn't. What's in the box? it's the pieces put together. But the bigger question is, would the community accept it that way? The fact that the
That's
pieces
such a
remained elusive
pretentious
this
cop
time
out, by
strikes
the
me as
way.
incredible and
Let's be
special.
honest,
a
right?
fitting conclusion in some ways, and because of that, I've decided that maybe some things are best left forgotten forever. End quote.
You
To
saw
me,
the negative reaction to,
phrase here
to
is,
Dream
would the
Theory, and
community
therefore you started
accept it that
rewriting
way?
in the sister
He
location in
knows
the
that
books.
it's all a dream explanation would fail to live up to our astronomical expectations. It's underwhelming. What about the puppet? What about the oddly specific detail of the paychecks? How about Scott confirming on Steam that my FNAF 2 theory was almost 100% correct? It's this will the community accept it quote that makes me think Scott intended the dream theory to be official, but also understands that ever revealing it would be a huge mistake. Hence him keeping it locked in the box. I mean, you
And
can
retconning
already
it.
see it in the comment threads discussing earlier versions of the dream theory. People enraged by the sheer mention of this thing. Heck, you'll probably see it in this comment section. But it doesn't have to be that way. Sure, the nights themselves may be a series of dreams, but the lore
Yes.
contained within those dreams
First comment.
doesn't have to be meaningless.
Totally got right there.
It's not. Think about it. The urban legends the kids are sharing had to start somewhere. That crying child clearly saw something that made him scared of these restaurants. And then how do the Atari games fit in? Are they just dreams within dreams? They're not. In researching this episode, I not only found the clues that solidify the dream theory, but also the missing links that we've all been overlooking in putting the FNAF timeline together. Scott's final clue about 4 games, 1 story may be a reference to a crying child's nightmares and eventual death in the hospital, but it can also be referencing the story of the game's primary struggle.
Dead
the
children?
puppet
Oh.
and the purple guy.
Fair
and
enough.
next week, we're covering that on an all-new Game Theory Saturday the 19th at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, 12 o'clock p.m.
The hell?
Pacific Time. That's noon for all of you currently trying to figure out whether that's midnight or noon. I know, I get it confused all the time too. Why am I telling you the time it'll be published and uploaded? Well, we're covering that story, followed up immediately by a live stream discussion where I, and hopefully a few other
Huh?
theorists, will be able to answer your questions as we close
Wait,
out the
what
year
is
with
this-
the definitive
what's the
answers
part
to this
2 of this?
incredibly mysterious series. And I want you guys to be there so you can ask your questions and talk about all this together with us live. So remember, that's Saturday the 19th at 3 o'clock
It's
p.m.
not in my
Eastern
list.
Time,
What?
noon Pacific Time for that
Like it's just the game theory, right?
That, you know,
Oh.
to me are the big issues that the dream theory doesn't address. One, the
Oh my-
crying child is
Oh my god, wait. So the flippin' like no. So part of it is a game theory and then it transitions into a live stream? Oh my god. Okay. So that's why that video was like stuck at the whatchamacallit. Why that video was in that playlist for on the Game Theorist channel. Shit. Oh no. Part 2 is 2 hours. No. Part 2 is, for what I could see, about 18 minutes. And then it moves on as like a big long ass discussion. Okay. We could do the game theory part of it, and then we'll like move back to this game. Then it's sister location. Okay. That makes sense. You don't have to watch the live stream, just the edited version. Yeah, I'll just watch the edited part, and then. Oh, so it's 59 videos then. Oh, so then it's definitely over 19 hours. Well, definitely. Every time I pause and talk, it'll definitely reach over 19 hours. Okay, so quick side jump to this video then, I guess. It's only in 720p. Ew! Disgusting. It is what it is. Okay, so now we'll go back to the side here, and then we'll go back to the main playlist back.
Nope, you're not dreaming.
Oh, the sound quality's worse as well.
FNAF.
What?
It's just a nightmare trying to
It's
do
the first
it.
live episode of Game Theory where we outline the final. Oh, so they like. Does that mean we have a chat we can look at? Is there like a legacy chat? Nope, there's no legacy chat. That's sad. Like a legacy chat is like a chat where that already has ended, but you know you. That fucking like puppet moving around is spooky as fuck.
Hello,
Not gonna lie.
Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, where it's another day, another FNAF timeline. Don't worry though, I promise this will be my final stab at putting it all together. At least until FNAF World. Maybe we can finally do Undertale.
just silent visual comedy.
Let me know in the comments. Now let me start this episode by making it very clear. I think the dream theory is indeed what Scott.
No, I think so too, but that's the thing. I don't like it. Nobody liked it.
Are real, i.e., there's really a birthday party and he really gets bitten, and the events of each night at Freddy's across the 4 games, where a security guard is attacked by robots, is taking place in his mind.
All just in your mind.
Clock sounds,
it's all just in your mind.
Statements both during the live stream and on Steam sold me 100% on that theory. That said, I, like a lot of you, aren't 100% satisfied with that explanation. Sure, the core gameplay sequences with you as the security guard might all be in the mind of a child, but the underlying story here about a serial killer stalking the halls of the restaurant are just too detailed and too well fleshed out.
Maybe he watched a lot of true crime as a kid.
To me are the big issues.
Watch all those National Geographic like commercials. Documentaries.
The child is afraid of those yellow suits for a reason. Remember what you saw. You know what will happen if he catches you. These are lines that his imaginary friend Fredbear repeats over and over. It feels a lot more sinister and real than just, oh, this kid saw something scary and misunderstood it in the shadows. 2. The puppet doesn't have a good explanation under Dream Theory. Clearly, the puppet is one of the most important forces in this game, but he doesn't fit into the dream model cleanly. A lot of other theorists have said it's symbolic of the boy's actions in his own dreams, but later this episode I'll prove that that's not true. If anything, the boy would be the security guard in these dreams, helpless and scared, not the puppet. I'm not buying it. 3. Scott confirmed the bulk of my FNAF 2 theory. This would be a strange move for him to go out of his way to say that a chain of events was correct if it was truly meaningless. And finally, number 4, the Atari minigames. Under Dream Theory, what? They're just dreams within dreams? What is this, Five Nights at Inception? And then there are plenty of little issues too, like a young child's dreams being so detailed as to include concepts that even most adults don't know, like sister locations and accurate minimum wage rates. So I clicked over everything.
Because he knows all that. The crying child is just so big a brain that he knows about the minimum wages. He knows about the wages. He's that base.
The story of the rise and fall of Freddy Fazbear's. Admittedly, there are still
welcome to the Twitch chat.
Leaps, which I'll be sure to call
Watching
out.
More
but right or
video.
wrong, this is the flow of events I believe creates the most satisfying
clippy as well. This is such a weird video. So this one is dedicated so surprising how the audio is so
YouTube,
crap.
Twitter, and
because usually the game theory videos are so good when it comes to that crap shit, right? So to have a video where it's not good is actually, if anything, more surprising to me at least.
The story begins at Fredbear Family Diner, the first location as revealed to us by Phone Guy in FNAF 2, and confirmed indirectly by Scott when he approved my FNAF 2 theory. I don't honestly think that there's much to debate here anymore. A child is murdered outside the establishment by a mysterious figure, the purple guy, who escapes unnoticed. The victim's
which is why like FNAF 2's video gets to be the most correct of all of them, because that one gets a direct confirmation basically, right? So therefore, most of the stuff there we can basically, everything has to be a variant of that.
From there, the timeline picks up in 1983, as seen on the Crying Child's television set. Since buying the franchise, Fazbear Entertainment has distanced themselves from the last restaurant by redesigning Fredbear into a golden singer with a yellow rabbit partner. They've also rolled out a popular TV series, Fredbear and Friends, as well as a line of merchandise that includes both plastic toys and plushies of all the characters. But perhaps the biggest addition has been a sister location of restaurants where Fredbear's friends are headlining. Freddy, Foxy, Chica, and Bonnie, known as Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. And that is our first major revelation, that FNAF 4's Fredbear-themed restaurant and FNAF 1's Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location are open at the same time. We know this thanks to the Phone Guy tapes uncovered in FNAF 3. For those of you who haven't listened to those enough times to have them memorized, I am so jealous of your life. But secondly, let me refresh your memories. The tapes welcome you to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and then mention a tragic incident at a sister location which results in the yellow Springlock suits being decommissioned. So let me translate that for you. For all of us unfamiliar with corporate buzzwords, a sister location is defined as another company owned by the same parent company. For example, KFC, Pizza Hut, and Taco Bell are all sister companies, with the parent company that holds them all together being Yum Brands. Yum is right. Ugh, I could totally go for some Pizza Hut right now.
No, okay, I'm gonna pause here because I'm pissed off. Okay, this is a rant that's been long in coming. I gotta do it. So here in Belgium, right, we have Pizza Hut. Since a few years now, we've had KFC. You hear it? You already know it's coming, right? We do not have Taco Bell here, and that pisses me the fuck off, because when I go to Miami, like well, years ago, actually, I've not been there in years, right? But the point is, when I went to America, Taco Bell was the shit, man. Like, if you can get the right one without the sour cream in it and shit like that, tasty. And every other, like, taco and burrito place, because mainly for the burritos, right? But, like, every other burrito place just kind of blows ass. They're not that good, and they're not that great. So just having them, like, existing but not being that good is like, wow, that was actually way shorter than I thought it'd be. I thought it'd be ranting or raving about, like, Taco Bell not existing here. Well, way longer than I actually did, but that, I guess, is it. It's just me, Angie. I want my Taco Bell, not something called Otaco. You have another restaurant chain called Otacos here, and it's terrible. It's not the same thing, and it tastes like ass. Even though there's some people that say, like, oh, but actually, it's pretty good. No, they're wrong. They're wrong. Where's my Taco Bell? God damn it, if I can have Pizza Hut and have KFC, why can I not have Taco Bell? Why do the neighboring countries have it, but not me? Boo! Pisses me off. God damn it. Again, I'll continue. Sorry.
Pizza Hut lunch buffet, you are the best. Hashtag not
Yeah, we have
sponsored.
Bell
In
over
this
here.
case,
God damn it.
Fredbear's
Of course England gets
is
that.
the sister location to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, with the parent company being Fazbear Entertainment. Corporate structure for the win. What all this means is that the unfortunate incident
Sister's
that Phone
Islands?
Guy mentions in the FNAF 3 tapes is the crying child getting chomped, which in turn is the inciting event that causes the two recently delivered yellow suits to the FNAF 1 location, the Golden Freddy and Golden Bonnie suit Phone Guy talks about, to be stored away in the location's safe room. At this point in the timeline, still open and hidden in the back of the restaurant. Enter Purple Guy. Shortly after the yellow suits get decommissioned, more FNAF 3 tapes reveal Phone Guy warning employees to not bring customers back to the safe room and to stop moving the yellow Bonnie suit. In the following days, the safe room gets sealed with the request to, quote, not tell family, friends, or insurance representatives. Now, Phone Guy may be unaware of what's happening here, but we're not. This is June 26th, 1983, the date of the missing children incident we learn about through the newspaper clippings pasted on the walls of FNAF 1, where, in the middle of the day, an employee dresses in a costume, lures 5 children to the back, kills them, and then stuffs their bodies into the suits. Although he's caught and taken into custody, the fact that all of this takes place in the restaurant's safe room, which remember are invisible to animatronics and security cameras, means that the actual murders aren't on camera. As such, the bodies of the children remain missing, hidden in the suits, and the killer can't be charged due to a lack of evidence.
Oh, wait, like
It's all
Dance is like,
represented in the game by the Foxy Go 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 minigame, where the layout of the game parallels the layout of the FNAF 1 location. Pirate Cove, to the right, a dining area. And as we see in the Give Gifts, Give Life minigame from FNAF 2, the puppet saves the kids by giving them life inside the animatronic suits. So now at this point in the timeline, we have Freddy, Foxy, Chica, Bonnie, Golden Freddy, and the puppet alive and well. Well, not alive, dead, and then reborn. You get the idea. Also, the company closes up the safe rooms to avoid all liability for the murders, and eventually the pizzeria is closed and the old animatronics retired due to the health conditions of the restaurant. As we see once again in the newspaper
Because they're
clippings from
stinky.
FNAF 1, the smell of rotting bodies inside the machines starts stinking up the place. So now let's
But
pause
not
there for a
bodies,
second.
right?
Up to now, everything has been pretty well substantiated with evidence, but before we get too much further, let's take a minute back with the crying child. Remember, one of my biggest concerns
Coma.
about Dream Theory is that the crying child is scared of the yellow suits, but there's no real good explanation as to why. So what if the reason the crying child is scared of the yellow suits is because he saw the missing children's incident? What if he saw the employee dressed up as a yellow animatronic luring the children away? Yes, this would mean that the missing children's incident would happen before the yellow suits are retired and before the kid gets bitten, but it's a theory that works for a lot of different reasons. First, he's always at the pizzerias, especially towards the end of the day, so he'd definitely be in a position to see something like this. Second, it explains his irrational fear of the yellow suits because he saw people get taken to the back and never return. Third, the lines of "remember what you saw" and "you know what will happen if he catches you" that psychic friend Fredbear keeps repeating makes a whole lot more sense now. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, look at this line. "These are my friends." If this were indeed true, this line has a whole new meaning. I
Yes,
always
the
thought that
imaginary
line
voices
was
are
weird.
friends.
Like, what, they're your imaginary friends? is, I suppose, but then why would his collection of plushies just be with him when he dies? Why is that such an important detail that Scott chose to include? It wouldn't be, really. But what if they were literally his friends? That he knew the kids who went missing and got stuffed, and the plushies being there in the final scene represented not his plushies, but the spirit of his friends, the ones possessing the suits, being there with him as he dies. Now that gives you a reason to be scared of this restaurant. But we can take it one step further. There's one more issue with the crying child we've yet to cover. What happens to him when he dies at the end of FNAF 4?
See, this I like way more.
We put him in the puppet because of design details, but in retrospect, that was wrong. Reddit user 3
My mom and I'm currently Pupsy
YIJ
bitches.
3IEJ Reddit user 3IEJ did an analysis of the color of the text during the ending sequence. All of the final lines aren't in the yellow used for psychic friend Fredbear, but rather a mysterious new off-white color for the final lines of "You're broken, I will put you back together." It's a subtle detail, but it's very clear that this is an intentional difference that Scott included in the games. So who's speaking? Well, who else but the one figure we know gives life to children dying in events around the Fazbear Entertainment franchise. It's the puppet, promising to right the wrongs of the pizzeria by bringing peace to the crying child's spirit. How does he plan to do this? Well, look at what he says. "We are still your friends." It's not "I am still your friend." The puppet using the plural here means that there would be multiple spirits present in this final scene that consider themselves friends to the crying child, but we also see this: "I am still here." The others are gone now, stuffed, leaving only the one with the ability to transcend the animatronic suits, the puppet. This makes a lot of sense if we again assume the crying child knew the kids who got stuffed during the missing children's incident. And look at the last line the puppet says: "I will put you back together." We've all been assuming his "you" is referring to the crying child, but consider for a minute that the puppet is instead playing the pronoun game, to steal a phrase from CinemaSins, and is instead referring to the plural "you." "You 5 are broken, and I will put you 5 back together." He's planning on reuniting the spirits of these 5 friends. What makes me so sure? Well, we see it happen. It's the conclusion to the whole story. In FNAF 3's The Happiest Day minigame, we see the crying child's birthday one more time. 5 kids in masks representing the same 5 animatronics, with the birthday boy representing Golden Fredbear. You can even compare the locations. Both are long corridors with 3 tables and a 4th one slightly off to the side. The balloons are also the same colors: red, green, purple, yellow, and blue. Even the exit is where the Fredbear stage is, an exit that, if used, results in the bad ending because the souls don't get peace. It's where the child was chomped. And who's the one we see in this minigame putting everyone back together again? The puppet. Just like he promised the boy he would do on his deathbed. And here's the best part. How do you get to this minigame? Well, by playing through a bunch of others, including the Stage 01 game, which you access by typing the numbers 395248 into the wall. Why are those numbers important? It's the hexadecimal code for the color of purple guy, only it's backwards. It's Scott's way of showing that the puppet is actively trying to reverse the work of the purple guy and the atrocities committed inside the walls of Fazbear Entertainment.
That makes sense
Pizza
enough. Oh wait, shit! We just reached the follower goal of 170 on Twitch. Well, thank you very much for that. Hello there. Hey, YouTube chat. We reached 170 on Twitch. I have no idea how many followers we have on YouTube, but at least we get 170 on Twitch. Hell yeah, let's go. Nice.
Against child murderers. I mean, there's
child murderers
being established here. So
what in this franchise?
However, as we all know, it's not enough. As we hear about from the phone guy and see in the Save Them minigame, the purple guy, now the
from here now,
kills 5 more kids within the walls of this restaurant. When the
5 more kids.
With the help of the possessed Freddy animatronic.
How are you? I'm doing fine. Like we're playing the videos. We're just watching all these children getting beat and killed. No, just kidding. We're doing the FNAF theories, but like this is the thing, right? All of a sudden, there was a weird like mishap in my list that I made. So we still have 50 more videos to go after this one, or after a part of this one, at least up to here-ish.
Don't you think? Additionally, we hear from Phone Guy that around this time, the toy animatronics inexplicably become more aggressive towards adults, but stay friendly towards kids. The only explanation here is that the 5 new child spirits are given life in the new toy suits by the puppets, but these spirits are angry. The pizza
So yeah,
is gonna close.
this is a long stream. If you follow, you might see me tomorrow still doing this. Just doing it all in one go, endurance stream. We've been live now for
their murderer, the purple guy,
almost 3 hours.
they know as the daytime security guard. Except bad news, purple guy is long gone. He did his business and got out. In his place is Jeremy, night security guard moved to the day shift, wrongfully attacked by a vengeful toy animatronic the day of the birthday, losing his frontal lobe and coining the now iconic Bite of 87 moniker in the process. This causes the location to be shut down and the toys to be scrapped. Animatronics from here on out are no longer allowed to walk around, and with Jeremy out of commission, Phone Guy volunteers to take over the position of Night Guard. Which brings us to our conclusion. The story comes to a final head.
It all ends with the first one, or well, the third one.
The minimum wage rate at the time, as well as the 11/12 date on the check. It doesn't matter if you're working night or day shift, all workers get paid on Fridays, and November 12th, 1993 landed on a Friday. It just fits. So Fazbear Entertainment tries to reopen the FNAF 1 location with the original animatronics and Phone Guy as security night guard. With the restaurant reopened one final time, we see this scene, where the puppet is waking up the spirits inside the animatronics one final time. It's time to get their revenge on Purple Guy at last. Phone Guy gets killed.
Still the Phone Guy, yeah.
In the final news
Still makes the most
wall,
sense, though,
no
I'm not
one
gonna lie.
comes to the restaurant because of its dark, tragic history, with the franchise closing at the end of the year. Sometime after, Purple Guy returns to the building, dismantles the suits, but in doing so, unwittingly unleashes the spirits of the dead children, who attack and kill him, and if they're reunited by the puppet in Happiest Day, finally receive their peace. Well, that is until Fazbear Fright opens and unearths Springtrap, but with all the other animatronics at peace, the puppet must get his hands dirty one final time, returning to burn down the building and finish Purple Guy off for good. Or not. Like any good horror story ends. So what about the Phantom animatronics, Shadow Freddy, and all that? Stay tuned, we're going to talk about those during the live stream immediately after this episode. The video's getting really long at
How
this
about
point, so I
no?
want to kind of close it out here. But as we close out here, I have to ask you this. Was that answer satisfying? You see, that's the
More satisfying than Game Theory.
frustration of anything else. There's so much lore, so many puzzle pieces to fit together that in order to account for everything, the story can't get much simpler than that. Dream Theory in this instance is so satisfying here because it explains all the messiness of the lore in broad, easy to understand strokes without you needing a PhD in FNAFology
Hey, welcome
to
back,
understand
Starmade.
what's going on. Sure, it is possible to fit the details together cleanly, but it's not an easy to follow story. It's almost like you need a full-length book to truly put all the pieces together.
No! No! Not the books.
Scott's got a book. Another FNAF video made moot by a Scott Cawthon announcement. Or not. This is actually a last-minute update. I'm recording this literally hours before the video and live stream tomorrow, but it was just too important to leave out, because it looks like Scott agrees with my conclusion. For once, the story is indeed...
There we go, we can end the live stream right here.
When talking about the new novel, which, true to form, released early, he said the following, quote, "The truth is that after a while, lore becomes so dense that there isn't room for a story anymore. Sometimes the timeline gets so full
Not
that
really.
the only way to tell a real story is to have the story set in a different timeline."
Boo.
Quote.
Boo.
There you have it. Dream
Called not
Theory,
committal.
Simple answer, and a 20-minute long timeline for those of you who want something a bit more complete. So which do you find more satisfying? Well, let's talk about all of that live right now.
It's a fun experiment.
Internet, welcome to Game.
I think this is also the beginning of GT Live, right? No. So how many did you watch? No, I have to watch them all. Ah! That's the thing. It's been a struggle to stream, and I'm hooked on Dredge, so I'm pushing through. Hell yeah, I gotta keep that stream. Gotta get them streaming hours up. So yeah, no, this is the video because it was apparently kind of decoupled from the others because I thought it wasn't part of the live stream. Because I thought it was part of the the live streams, the numerous live streams they do, right? But the first 20 minutes apparently were their own video, but they didn't upload it separately, sadly enough. So, I I guess we then did 9 videos up until now. Now we have to still do the remaining 49 videos. Ah! Keep them hours up. Keep them streaming hours up. No, streaming makes the brain hurt. No. That's primo content. What am I quoting? I'm quoting a Shocham edited hollow video. God damn it. Anyway, so wait, where's my background music? Where's my spooky background music for my spooky in between parts? God. So yeah, we've essentially been how long have you been streaming? We've been live for 2 hours and 45 minutes on the clock. Holy shit. Exactly. Damn. We have a lot more to go. Anyway, so up until now, right? You get the 4th game. The 4th game introduces dream theory. Well, the first one kind of introduced it, but the 4th one really posits dream theory, and dream theory is annoying. I didn't like it back in the day. And honest to God, I think until like the sister location sort of like playthrough for Markiplier came out, I kind of got disinterested, and I decoupled from the franchise. Around here-ish somewhere is where I would watch the videos, but would not even engage that much with the games anymore. I'll be honest. The 3rd one was just such a great, like, oh, we have the killer survives at the end of the game. What's next? The 4th game. It has, like, nothing to do with any of the other ones, except, if anything, it just kind of disproves all of them, where it's like, oh, but it's a dream theory. It's like a side project game, sort of. It sort of ties it up, but in an annoying way, in my opinion. Whilst Sister Location then continues, but takes it into the fantastical land of William Afton's crazy, bizarre adventure, where he has, like, technology that's at least more advanced than our reality, but also less advanced than our reality. And then slowly after, probably in the books, I think is when the stuff of Remnant and stuff gets introduced, so... but we'll get to that when we get to that, right? Anyway, okay, so I'm so tired, I'm gonna go eat. No problem, Starmane. Definitely keep healthy by actually eating. I already had dinner before the stream, essentially. I ate a little bit of cereal, you know, a little cereal to get some extra energy up, but, you know, I'll see by how many hours later on if I will make breakfast or whatever, take like a little break like that. Keep up the great work. This is not great work. This is self-flagellation at this point. But we'll keep going, because we might as well, right? I mean, yeah. Plus, I'm keeping the, like, little fidget spinner in the corner, so there's always a little bit of spinning going on. There's always something going on, I guess. I'm in the US, so it's 5 a.m. right now. Damn. That's early. Or 5 p.m. maybe. Not really. At least not self-flagellation, that's true. Here it's only... Oh, it's 10 to 11. Man, it's actually early here still. Well, that's the advantage of starting at, like, 8, so, like, yeah. Get a bit of extra time there, so that's going to be nice. Anyway, the next one is when FNAF 5 releases. So, Sister Location comes out. Markiplier's playthrough of it is interesting. And everyone's waiting for what the next game theory video will be.
It's been half a year, so let's do this. Let's solve the secrets of FNAF Sister Location months before the game comes out.
Oh yeah, it wasn't even out yet. What? Shit. But all these assets of it are already leaked, lol.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to
Game Theory!
Today, the goal is to solve the biggest gaming mystery of 2016 before it even exists. For once, I'm gonna get the jump on you, Scott Cawthon, and here's how I'm gonna do it. We all know that Scott loves dropping little teaser hints on his site, but this time, he's tipped his hand a bit too far. Enough for me to get a
pre-release video game videos are pretty cool what he does. True! They were some of the most fun, like, it was basically speculation videos, but they were very well informed, you know, because they tried to, they really tried to, whatchamacallit,
Scott's website.
They really tried to substance what they were saying by using, you know, the tips that Scott gave and stuff like that. I really love your model, by the way. Thanks. It's hard to play and respond to chat at the same time. It is not easy, but yeah, you make work of what you do. Let me guess, he did not solve them. He got pretty close, if I remember. If I remember correctly, I think this one gets pretty close to what it eventually was, somewhat.
new. It was the source code.
Like a lot of the,
whole byte of 83
a lot of around
7 debate
thing.
during FNAF 4.
What call
But
it?
this
A lot
time
of
it's
like
bit more than just a mere
world
hint of
bits
what's
he
to
got
come.
right.
It is a fully
Just not the main
fledged
story as
story.
much.
So let's take this line by line. This first big chunk at the beginning starts off like a collection of letters and punctuation, but upon further inspection, you can make out repeated numbering patterns and letter combinations.
Kinda, right? Like, it is louder than the previous ones.
When
What the
pieced
hell?
together, it becomes a schedule.
Although when I talk, he
looking
goes
like
down, so
this,
that's
listing out
fine.
the days when certain animatronics are either available, booked, needed
got
for a
damn
private
close, like,
party,
all the time
or
practically,
mass,
right? Like-
either
like-
in maintenance or needed for a matinee show. It's unclear which. It's also worth mentioning that 4 animatronics are specifically called out here. BBY for Baby, BAL for Ballora, and FTF for both Funtime Freddy and Funtime Foxy. Now, for those of you who don't follow every scrap of information about these games, let me explain. Reddit discovered that Scott had gone and copyrighted various names, presumably for these new animatronics, and here we see it being confirmed. More on some of these guys in a minute. The thing I want to call out first is that there's clearly a 5th animatronic in this schedule, 05OOS. Out of service. But who could this be? In the trailer, we only see 4 animatronics. Well, that's where this teaser image comes in. A few weeks ago, this image was up on Scott Games. A mask with glowing eyes and a tangle of wires, almost like tentacles, accompanied by this text. Quote, "There's a little bit of me in everybody." And
Ew.
notice the grammar here. It's
Oh,
not
no.
everybody.
No, from just killing the kids, he comes in all the kids. No! Ah!
Are out of
How
service.
could you, Scott?
I mean,
What
look
the
at that.
hell?
This guy ain't being booked at any children's
Five Nuts.
parties.
Oh my god.
But that's not all we can conclude about him. The text indicates that a piece of him, his soul, his mechanisms, whatever, is in every other animatronic body. This could have 2 possible explanations. Either he's possessed the
restart
other
that.
animatronics and is controlling them, which would explain the "don't hold it against us" line from the teaser trailer we hear over and over again. Or, more likely, he's the reason the other animatronics have life in the first place. This pile of wires is kind of like the puppet from the original series, giving gifts, giving life. Or maybe this is the puppet, a new and rebooted version of the puppet. Now, stay with me here.
This
One
theory
thing
is
that's
so
largely
weird
unfound
knowing how the
since
game
its
came
first
out, right?
appearance back in FNAF 2 is
Oh,
how
shit.
the puppet character
Encoding
just
overloaded.
didn't
What the
fit
fuck?
in
What
with
the fuck?
FNAF
Whoa, wait. Scuff issues. Let me just quickly double check everything. Oh shit, we're dropping shit. Ah! The hell's happening? Wait, quickly restart the Twitch one, I guess. You have any social media or something to interact with, by the way? If you scroll down, you have there's a Discord where you can get the stream schedule, stuff like that, and there's a YouTube where the main chat that I mostly interact with also happens. Wait, let me restart the Twitch one.